Good evening, Big Brown Breakdown listeners. What's happening, guys? Thanks for tuning in. This week is a good one. I've been trying to get Cris Cyborg on for quite some time. We have a few mutual friends. And, I feel like out of anyone on the roster, if there's anyone who can complain about no promotion, mistreated, stuff like that, it would be Cyborg. I just, we never hear her side of the story. And I kept telling everyone that knew her, I go, tell her to come on the show. I know her story. It's just not getting told. She's not doing it right. We're only getting the B side of things from the UFC, from the corporation, which in general, it only is good for them. And she gets freaking these black eyes, for lack of better reference when it comes to fighting, but she gets these black eyes in the media nonstop. But if you know what's going on, it's not fair. It's just not fair. So I wanted her to come on for quite some time. And the way it went down is actually pretty funny. I was in a coffee shop, preparing to do the show today and for my stand-up tonight. And I get a call, and it's from this random number. And I'm like, I don't answer random numbers, but I'll answer this one. It's California number, so you never know. Who knows? It could be TV or some sponsor, something like that. So I answer like, hello. And this guy's like, yo, man, we're out front. I'm like, who the hell's we're out front? And he goes, it's Cyborg. I'm her boyfriend, Ray. It's me and Cris are here. I'm like, oh, shit. No one told me you guys were coming on today. I didn't say that. Played it cool. I went, oh, yeah, of course, man. I'll send my producer intern down to get you. Be right there. Thanks for coming on. I was 20 minutes away. No one told me. I mean, like 2 months ago, they were like, yeah, Cyborg wants to do the show. She doesn't want to do a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews, but, you've defended her. She'd like to do your show. Like, cool, man. Let me know when. Give me a heads up. Open policy here. Apparently, open policy for them means just, I guess, whatever. But when Cris Cyborg shows up, you got to get there. I would say I drove 120 miles an hour on 405 to get here in time in the carpool lane, ran red lights. I was barely late, though, wasn't
I? Just about on time.
Just about on time. Yeah. And when you guys hear this interview, we're super fortunate because her boyfriend is a former fighter and knows the game inside and out. Now, typically when we have a guest on and they bring a significant other, they bring their entourage, or they bring their boys or their friends or whatever, they ain't get on the mic. Sometimes I don't even let them in the room because it's awkward. But I had a conversation with him and her, and he just starts getting into all this stuff.
It was great.
And he was so detailed in his stuff. I went, you got to come on the show, right? Like, Cyborg's English, it's good, but you have all this information. It's going to be so much better for you to articulate it. And then Cyborg chime in. We get this kind of symbiotic relationship going between the three of us. And he went, all right. And he killed it.
Gold.
He killed it.
Loved it.
He knows his stuff. And I'm excited for you guys to hear this one. So, it's a heartbreaking story. And I think you guys are going to listen to this and you're like, holy shit, man, I had no idea. And part of it, well, I'd say 95% of it is on the UFC because they don't tell her story and they don't promote her. And she's literally the scariest, best female fighter in the world. And the other part is, and it's not Cyborg's fault, but they haven't done a job of telling their story. So you only hear it from this one corporate side, which is never the way to go. And you hear the story. I'll be honest, I got emotional here when Cyborg started she gets emotional just talking about, what she wants from this and how she sees this ending. And it's a beast, man. So before we get into that, let's jump into the current events, these world MMA events.
Here we go. And by the way, I got freaking emotional too. So it was emotion all around. Everyone.
How could you not, man?
All right, first one. So at the UFC 211 post-fight press conference, Dana White kind of singled out Luke Rockhold in this weird rant that he did. Well, I don't know if it's weird or not, but he was saying that, I'll quote him right here. He goes, a lot of guys are talking about deserve. Nobody deserves anything. You have to earn it here. You know what I'm saying? These guys want to sit around, and he mentioned Luke Rockhold, screaming, "I deserve this." And then he goes, "You got knocked out in the first round. You don't deserve anything. You have to earn it the way that Maya earned it."
I agree with Dana White when he goes, a lot of these guys are talking about they deserve this or that. As far as does Luke Rockhold deserve a title shot? No. He did lose to Damian Maya. To Bisping on short notice, and he got knocked out, and that's where he lost his belt. And he hasn't been active, and he's making these demands when Luke just needs to get back in the cage, whether it's against Mousasi, Whitaker, whoever. He just needs to get back in the goddamn octagon. But so to Dana's point, I'm like, all right, I get that, saying you just need to fight. These guys earned it. But at the same time, too, is this the best way to address the outcry of all these fighters? Like, you go in there, you earn it, you deserve it. Look at Maya. Well, yeah, that's why I'm fucking shouting from the top of the mountain. Look at Maya. He's won, 8 in a row now? 7 in a row? 7 or 8 in a fucking row. And he's Milton at the Office Space. All the cake's going around. And Damian Maya's sitting there like, where the fuck's my cake, man? What are we doing? It took him to beat the worst matchup possible for him, Jorge Masvidal, and took him beating him to get a title shot. So he say earn it like Damian Maya. Fuck you. That doesn't sound fun. I don't want to do that. I deserve better than that. So, but for Luke Rockhold, he's gonna have way more chips on his side because he's not a draw like he thinks he is. He's gonna have way more chips on his side if he just gets back in the octagon, beats a Whitaker, a Mousasi, something like that, instead of just sitting on the sidelines. Being in Miami, doing this modeling thing, he needs to get back in there.
Well, check it out. So there's a series of tweets after this, the way that Luke Rockhold responded.
Oh, yeah?
The first one being, he addresses it to Dana White, tags Dana White on Twitter, and he says, "I never said I deserved a title shot. I said we middleweights deserve clarity. We deserve something to fight for."
Completely
and then,
fair.
One more. He goes, "Dana White, you have to earn your way into this company." He's quoting Dana White. "Tell me how did GSP earn his middleweight title shot? Think before you run your mouth." So that seems super harsh, but it also seemed harsh when Dana White's like, "You got knocked out in the first round."
Oh no! The thing is, when people go, "God, you're talking to your boss like that?" Well, your boss talks to you like that. Yeah. You're talking to a professional athlete, professional fighter. You want to be this big, high and mighty and sit on your throne up there and talk shit. This is what you're gonna get back. Also, you're not around a lot, so you're seeing like Al Quinta. Cyborg finally coming out. You're seeing, that James Vick saying something. He had to get on the mic and go, "Promote me, man. I'm 7-1. Promote me." Like, so you're getting all this outcry now. And for Luke Rockhold, he goes, "You have to earn your way in this company, ? Tell me, how did GSP earn a middleweight title shot? Think before you run your mouth." I actually like that. And actually, I think it's going to win Luke more fans, which I really think needs help on his image as far as conveying his personality and stuff like that to the public. Because for whatever reason, there's this weird kind of stigma with him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if because he looks like a supermodel and, he fights and he seems arrogant. I don't know what it is, but, he's actually a good dude. He's right. I agree with him on, and I even retweeted this. Funny you brought this in because he goes, "Tell me how GSP earned a middleweight title shot." It's a good point. And people, respond to me, go, "It's GSP, bro. Legend. Lost, never lost, his shot at never lost a title, all this stuff." Hold on. GSP's been gone for 4 years, and you're talking about he was the champion at 170. How in the fuck does he earn a title shot after a 4-year layoff at middleweight? In what world? And also, that was 4 years ago. People are going to be really surprised when GSP's not that draw that he used to be. You got to be active. This is a new UFC. This ain't the same old UFC. GSP was a star back then. Ask Anderson Silva how his numbers are doing. GSP's right in the same boat as Anderson Silva. I hate to tell you. No one's dying to see him fight Bisping. Why do you think the fight's not happening?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why?
Why do you think they announced it with no date in mind? Testing the waters. Then what happened? Everyone went, "What the fuck? We don't want to see that." He's not ready to fight. Let's do Bisping Yoel now.
Wow.
I mean, no one's chomping at the bit to see GSP versus Bisping. Hate to tell you. Hate to tell you, man. It's just not. It's not happening. So,
but Dana White responded to this too, and it just came in pretty recently. So Dana White says to Luke Rockhold, Luke Rockhold, I usually never respond, but GSP never lost his title. Bisping, GSP and the fans wanted it.
Not true.
Stick to fighting and modeling. Leave the matchmaking to us.
No. So it doesn't work like this way. I agree with Dana how he goes, basically, you got to earn it. As far as earn it, you got to fight. Like, you're doing all this talking, you got to fight. He's not fighting for a title shot. And Luke defends himself because I wasn't asked for a title shot. Mm-hmm. I'm saying middleweight division's a clusterfuck right now because you have GSP 4-year layoff fighting for a title. Let's just break down this Dana White tweet. And for him to even respond to Luke Rockhold, it shows you where the state of the UFC is in right now. It's a bit of a shit show. It's basically the same as Donald Trump responding to that late night talk show host.
Yeah, was it Colbert?
Okay. Like when when you respond to those, people are like, well, that's interesting. So now fighters know they can get to Dana White via Twitter. We know he sees the outcry. So when he responds, he goes, at Luke, I usually never respond, but GSP never lost his title at 170. That is true. Bisping, GSP, and the fans wanted it. So let's take out the fans because that's not true, and we know that because the fight's not happening. Bisping and GSP, I guess they wanted it. I guess really GSP wanted it. You guys think he's this huge draw, which I don't really think he is anymore. Hate to tell you. I love the guy. Stick to fighting and leave the matchmaking up to us. That would be fine if the matchmaking was done correctly and you stuck to a certain agenda. If you stuck to a curriculum where we knew what was going to work. But when you say leave the matchmaking to us, and if a guy from 4 years jump in front of Yoel, Rockhold, Whitaker, Mousasi, all these guys, and you say leave the matchmaking to us, well, we can't do that. Because if we do that, we'll never get a title shot. We'll never get the big paydays. Look at everyone who took the matchmaking into their own hands and goes, I'm going to fight this guy. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. It always works out. So that his whole tweet's fucked because GSP never lost his title. That's at 170, so that's irrelevant. Bisping and GSP and the fans want it. Take out that. I guess Bisping and GSP want it, but the fans never did, and they made it very, very clear to you. Stick to fighting and modeling. Leave the matchmaking up to us. Well, I can't because the matchmaking never works out for anyone. Ask Cris Cyborg. Wait to hear her story. And then stick to fighting and modeling. The only reason he's modeling is he's not making enough money as a top 5 185 on the planet, so that's why he has to resort to modeling as well.
Was the belt that he lost to Matt Serra, was that at 170? Didn't he lose that?
Yeah.
So he did lose, right?
He lost, but then he went on, defended multiple times.
I thought maybe it was 155. But yeah,
but GSP never lost his title. He did lose his title.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm sure this had to be a heat of the moment text too, right? Or Twitter.
Ego thing, yeah. Dana's getting so much shit.
Okay.
It's crazy. For Luke Rockhold, to me, that's how it works out. Like back in the day, there used to be repercussions to doing this. They'd sit you, they'd do this, but this new UFC, I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, well, moving on from this, Roy McDonald was on MMA Hour, and he wasn't saying this in a bad way, but he said that he's not making as much sponsorship money in Bellator as he was in the UFC.
I saw this, and the headline's a little misleading.
Yeah.
So the headline reads, Roy McDonald making less sponsorship money in Bellator than the UFC. I saw that, I'm like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. How? His manager should be fired. Then you scroll down, and he goes, listen, I could have all sorts of freaking sponsors on my shorts, but I choose not to. I choose to not sign with those guys, and what I'm looking for is long-term marquee sponsorships that are going to help build his brand and his name and represent him in a long-term partnership, which is smart. It's a business trade-off. And, the reason he's able to do this is because he's making so much from just fighting. So it's a double-edged sword here. Grant, yeah, he's making less money, but he could make more money if he chose to. He just wants to hold out, sign, who knows, with maybe a Breitling, these big watch company, the model company, or Versace or stuff like that. Like he's going for marquee dollar instead of tying himself up looking like a NASCAR.
Yep, that's good then.
Mm-hmm. It's a good move. I'm not mad at it. It's a good move for Roy, and he's getting paid, so it doesn't really hurt him.
Cool. Next one, Anthony Johnson. So he was on Booker T, his podcast, and Booker T is like a old school wrestler guy.
Super old.
Not too old, but older. Not wrestling anymore.
You ever seen Booker? The only reason I know Booker T is because you ever seen when he messes up and he's doing a promo for Hulk Hogan, and he goes, "I'm coming after you," and he he must be saying the N word to his friends all the time, but he actually says it to Hulk Hogan. He goes, "I'm Hulk Hogan. I'm coming for you, ninja," but he says the actual N word.
Yeah.
It is so funny, and he goes, "Hulk Hogan, come for you, ninja," and he goes, "Oh." And the white girl in front goes, "Oh my God." And it's so aggressive. It's one of the greatest promos of all time. Nice. But what do you got?
Oh, so he was, everyone wanted to know what's he going to do next after he retires. He said he kind of was going to do something special that he was meant to do, and it's going to make a lot of money. Well, presumably it's in the marijuana business, and it's for medical benefits for CTE, brain health, and it has to do with marijuana. That's what he was implying. He never said it out.
What happened to the
loud.
Rams gig?
So, what I'm thinking? Maybe the Rams thing is probably a division of that CTE thing, right? So the Rams players, they take this whatever medicine that helps prevent.
God, talk about misguided.
I don't know. I mean,
he had a Rams logo on the back of his bio, and the Rams helmet #Rams. I thought he was going to play fucking tight end for the Rams or some shit. So he's just doing some CT research for the Rams.
Maybe just some special thing with marijuana that helps the Rams players. That's not like psychoactive though. Like
so
CBD.
CBD, yeah.
CBD.
Yeah, because it's still illegal in the NFL. So I'm not sure how the Rams could be supported by that.
Yeah,
that's an interesting move. Well, good for him, man. I think what's really interesting in this is he goes, "I was never a fighter. I was just always a good athlete. I never liked doing this." If you scroll down, he goes, "My health, man. Of course."
I did see that part where he said that, though.
Here he goes, "Of course, for someone who never..." So he goes, Johnson 30 said on the show, he was never a fighter. He was just a great athlete who took to MMA naturally. He feels like he was meant to do something else, something greater in life. So, I mean, one of the greatest knockout artists of all time, one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time. So it's pretty cool. He says, "I left my own term. Left on good terms. I left as one of the best fighters ever in the weight class." That's cool. He says, "Once I'm done, I'm done." So good for him, man.
Do you believe that he was really never... I mean, he would not say that unless he meant it, right? That he was never really a fighter?
No, I say the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was one of the first guys. I think I might have been the first guy to say it. I was like, it's not natural in me. I didn't grow up fighting. I didn't grow up being this monster or anything like that. I was just a good athlete, and I gravitated towards it because I got good fast. I was just a better athlete than a lot of guys. And it sounds like that's what Anthony Johnson's saying here. I'd been interested. I wonder what kind of reaction he would have got if he got on the mic and was like, "I'm leaving the UFC because I'm going to go pursue marijuana." I can't imagine people were like, "Oh, cool, man. Good luck." So the hype's kind of gone. So everyone's like, "That was it." But hopefully it is a good business plan there. Hope it works out.
I wonder if it'll be for the Rams.
I don't know, because it's an illegal.
But I mean the whole cannabidiol CBD thing.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that. And the Rams haven't released any statement.
Have you ever covered this question before? Since we're talking about being a real fighter, have you fought growing up, like a street fight? Have you ever been in those fights?
With my brother, I may have been in 3 street fights ever.
Oh, so you did fight though?
I mean, not really. I was forced to.
Okay.
But like I wasn't like a bully. I never got.
No.
I was never like picked on really. Like I was just good at sports. Like I'd solve all my issues through sports. Never with my hands or.
Yeah.
I'm not like a Diaz brother or something like that.
No. I was just wondering if you ever.
Like I grew up fighting my older brother fucking stop, but that's different than in the streets.
Definitely different.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. The Dustin Poirier illegal knee or legal knee, whatever that was.
Definitely illegal.
So he's going to appeal it, first of all. And then he was also on Luke Thomas's radio show. Oh, that's not the one. And according to Luke Thomas, Dustin Poirier said that he doesn't even care about getting a win. He just wants the money. That's the reason why he's appealing.
For sure.
But I think Luke Thomas wrote win or loss. He never said anything about loss. I think he doesn't care if it's a no contest or something where he doesn't care about getting the W.
He should. He should care about the W. The thing is Herb Dean's sticking to it.
Oh yeah, I was going to show you that too.
Please show me
he
that.
is sticking to it.
Please show me that.
I don't know what to say about this.
It's fucking crazy. And Herb, I've always said he's one of the best in the business. I don't know if I can say that anymore. I hate to go bad on Herb. He's a great guy, and he's reffed a number of my fights, and he's definitely one of the better ones. He keeps fucking up. He really fucks up, and for him not to identify and go, I kind of made the wrong call, to stick by it, it just makes you more of an asshole. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, I fucked up, man, because you can say, well, Eddie Alvarez, it's so loud he couldn't hear the warnings, so I don't think it was intentional. Eddie Alvarez has 40 fights, 50 fights. You're talking about a pure fucking vet. As a veteran as it gets in the octagon in the UFC. Like, as far as mixed martial arts, he doesn't have a ton of UFC fights, but he has a ton of MMA experience. If it was a Yair Rodriguez, if it was a Brock Lesnar who fights once every 3 years, if it was a CM Punk, you got it. No problem, man. Those guys are new. They've never really been there. They don't understand the rules. Heat of the moment. They're not pros. Got a little excited. Couldn't really tell if the hand was down. We're talking about Dustin Poirier, who has 18 fights in the UFC, where the fuck it is. And you got Eddie Alvarez, who's a complete vet, former 2-time world champion in Bellator and UFC. You don't think he knows what he's doing when he's throwing those knees? You say it's not intentional? And not to mention, you let the first one happen, you don't stop it. You let the second one happen, which affects the results of the fight and fucking crushes Dustin Poirier's eyeball? What's wrong with you, man? And then you get on there and go, definitely it stands by, no contest. There has to be some sort of repercussions to this guy. He should be banned. He should be suspended. How many times can you let him fuck up before we call a spade a spade? If you suck at your job, you suck at your job. Now, more times often than not, 9 times out of 10, Herb Dean is a phenomenal referee. When it comes to this, maybe it's not his fault. He doesn't have a lot of experience in this. Same when you see these cop shootings, they don't have a lot of experience in these high-pressure situations, so they freak out and pull the trigger. Well, in this case, he freaks out. He freezes up. He goes, I issued him a warning. He didn't mean to do that. The fuck you talking about? What do you mean Eddie Alvarez didn't mean to do that? I love Eddie. He's not a dirty fighter. Of course Eddie meant to knee him in the goddamn face. Mm-hmm. Of course he meant to do that. So what do you think's going to happen? What's the message we send to everyone else? The message is, if you're in a fight, Eddie was going to lose that fight. I picked Eddie to win. I want Eddie to win. I'm biased as fuck. I wanted to go undefeated that night. I don't want to start off my pick 0-1. I want Eddie to win. I promise you Eddie was going to lose that fight. So when Eddie goes, fuck it, I'm going to knee him in the head, knee him in the face. If you're a vet watching that fight and you go, damn, next time I'm in trouble, I'm just going to fucking do something illegal, get a no contest, get the fuck out of there. It's not a loss.
Oh, damn.
Why not?
Jeez.
Why not? Where do you stop? So, all right, not knees more? I
didn't even think about that.
Do I gouge an eye? You know what I'm saying? And Herb Dean's just, as long as it doesn't look like I meant to do it, even though I have 40 fucking fights under my belt. It's crazy. To Herb Dean's defense, though, the rule's so gray, so black and white, and different commissions, 2 hands, 1 hand, 3 points, 4 points. So it's all confusing, which we're still in the infant stages of professional sports as far as mixed martial arts goes, which is crazy. The rules aren't all aligned, but that's all on commission. Nothing we can do about that right now. But for Herb Dean, come on, man. Own this. You fucked up royally.
I really wanted him to own this, too. His reasoning was because his head was above the back of Poirier's head. He couldn't tell whether or not his hands were touching the ground.
So you know what I mean? So you're at Eddie's level, a former world champion.
Exactly.
He knows, I promise you he knows not to throw a knee. And if he does, and Dustin Poirier can't fight because his eye socket was smashed in, it's a no contest? What fucking world are you living in, Herb? What are you talking about? Own this, Herb Dean. Own this, man. You fucked up. You cost Dustin Poirier a win. Well, not now.
Yeah. That's what sucks, because I think Poirier, since he's appealing, he would have a little better chance, because I think no one ever wins appeals, but he would have a little better chance if Herb Dean said, yeah, I made a mistake.
Nope, and commissions usually stick by the refs every time.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw an appeal get overturned?
I don't remember. Only for retroactive TVs.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Never inside the octagon?
No.
Holly Holm had a great case. They're like, what? Get out of here. Yeah. Herb Dean's fucking up, man. Tells the rest of the division, hey, if you're in trouble, you get wobbled, throw a fucking knee at their eye socket, try and break it, man. Be a no contest. Not a loss. That's in the rules. Herb Dean is, Herb's loosey-goosey on this. Should be a no exception policy. You throw a knee, whether you can tell if his hand is down or not, and you throw it at his face, and you meant to land at his face, and you're not sure if his knee's down, whose fault is that? Is that your fault as the opponent? Nope.
It's my fault that threw it.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, Eddie needs to own it. Herb needs to quit making excuses for it. You fucked up, Herb. You fucked up. Okay, man, live and learn. The problem I have is I question your intelligence when you stick by it.
That's what kind of bums me out about
That's
this.
what bums me out. You've seen it. And why didn't we go to replay? You did in New York where they weren't allowed to. And I see there's a chain of command. And the chain of command, when he went to Homeboy, I love that guy. I forget his name, but went to chain of command.
Mark Ratner?
Mark Ratner. Yeah. I love Mark. Mark's a smart guy. And he's in Mark's ear going, couldn't tell. It's so loud. He couldn't hear the warning. It's a no contest. Mark's like, you're the fucking ref. You've been doing this forever. All right, man. What you say goes. That's the chain of command. What about replay?
But even in this case, a replay, he's judging off of intent, which is lame in itself. Like,
you're judging off intent in a fist fight with a guy with how many fights did he have?
A gazillion.
A million fights? Intent? If the intent was to throw a knee at his eye socket, it's illegal. It's illegal.
I'm with you on that.
That's an easy one. Herb, you fucked up. What else you got?
All right, moving on. What you were talking about earlier, that the Yoel Romero getting the next title shot. Mm-hmm. So Dana White said last week on Fox Australia that since George St. Pierre posted that he wanted to fight sometime in November, that he's literally giving Yoel the next title shot. He says he's not waiting for George St. Pierre.
And this is funny to me because it's like, all right, George, we're not waiting for you.
But what you said earlier,
he's not a draw. Like the fans were like, yes, GSP versus Bisping. This is a fight we've always wanted. No, everyone's like, cool, moving on. Have you seen an uproar on social media that this fight's off? No. You haven't heard shit. No, even GSP's not mad. All right, cool. I'll fight in November. We'll probably find a different opponent. The one who kind of gets fucked at all this is Bisping, but he still gets pay-per-view points. If they put that fight on that UFC Anaheim, it's going to be huge, so hopefully he makes up for it. And it puts, as an MMA purist, if you're a purist, you like this because Yoel was deserving of the next title shot, and it doesn't hold up the division. So it's really what should have been happening all along. You match up Rockhold versus Whitaker, Whitaker versus Mousasi for the next title shot. And somewhere in line, Rockhold falls into that. But, of course, you have no choice but to make Yoel Bisping.
So the only person that's really bummed about this is probably Bisping, right?
He's not getting that huge mega fight. Because Yoel is not a mega fight. As a pure, I'd love to see it, and I actually think Bisping has a good chance to win that fight. But that's not a barn burner. If they did that, on a regular, if that was the main event on a regular pay-per-view, 400 buys, 400K, I think. It's not a record breaker. Just not. Yoel's not there yet. He's not a star. What else you got, brother?
All right. So, Woodley says that for him to fight Damian Maia in his country, in Brazil, he would need 7 figures. And he was saying like that Damian Maia is not really a draw. So,
that's right.
So if he were to fight him here, it would be kind of like it wouldn't make as much money anyway. So if you want me to go travel to his country, bring my training camp, whatever, everything over there, then you would have to give me 7 figures.
The only way Woodley's going to get 7 figures, if hopefully he's getting pay-per-view points because he's a champ, is if he travels to Brazil and they stack that card. Because, Woodley Maia as a main event, again, on the UFC, isn't it? If you put Damian Maia, Woodley, Bisping, Yoel Romero on the same card, it doesn't break 500K. Just doesn't. Woodley's not a draw. He's not. Woodley by himself is not a draw. It sucks, I know. He best body in the UFC, baddest man at 170 pounds. I think he's a terrible matchup for Damian Maia.
He said that as well. He was like, out of all the top 10 in the middleweight,
By far the best
matchup for him.
Yeah, I agree with him 100% on that. For Woodley, it's neither one of them are drawn. They're just not. I can't wait to see the fight, but I think it's a tough path for Damian Maia to get that belt going through Woodley. But 7 figures, UFC ain't paying 7 figures. Unless, and like I said, the only way he's going to get it, if let's say he was on UFC 214 with DC, John Jones, Cyborg, let's say hopefully it's that Australian chick,
Megan Anderson,
and then you have Maia, Woodley, and you have freaking Bisping, Yoel. If you have all that on there, then you're talking about 7-figure payday, son. That I doubt they stack the card like that. I hope he gets it though, but it ain't happening. What else you got?
All right, next one. Jorge Masvidal is calling out Neil Magny and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And Magny replied by saying, like, if I fought you, it wouldn't bring me any closer to the title shot, especially now, right? Since Masvidal lost.
Yeah.
But he actually called out Stephen Thompson, and Stephen Thompson is down to take the fight.
That's a great fight.
As long as he, once he finishes recovering from his injury.
I wonder how long
it
he's
shouldn't
out.
be too long.
I wonder how long he's out of that, though.
But how do you like that matchup? As far
Love
as
the
where they're both
matchup.
at?
I love the matchup. So Jorge Masvidal goes, just got word at Neil Magny suffered from vaginitis. Hilarious. At one, his shit talking is not the best, but at Wonderboy MMA, where you at? # easy money. Some fan put, at Wonderboy MMA will smoke you. And then Jorge goes, I'll light his ass up, which is hilarious. And Wonderboy goes, replying to at Gamebred Fighter, hey man, the nicest guy in the world. Hey bro, would love to fight after I heal up from the surgery, my friend. Did you have to put my friend?
I know.
Hey man, would love to fight you after I heal up from knee surgery, my friend. Ain't your fucking friend. It'd be funny if Jorge responded, ain't your fucking friend, bro. I love that fight. Jorge versus Wonderboy is such an intriguing fight. Such a fun fight. I think that should be nice for Jorge. I don't think you knock the Damian Maia loss on him too much. That win, if whether Wonderboy wins or Masvidal wins, you'd be the next title shot. So I love that matchup. It just all depends how long Wonderboy's out. That's funny.
Right on.
Hey man, would love to fight you after I heal up from my knee surgery.
My friend.
Leave them my friend off. What else you got?
All right, this one, it came in pretty recently, so I didn't read it entirely. However, the California State Athletic Commission passed this 10-point weight cutting regulation. And it's actually pretty cool. This is where they added new weight classes. Let me see if I can find where they added the new weight classes. So there's like 125 that you already know about.
Yeah. Female?
225.
What?
Let me actually find it right here.
There's a 225 weight class?
So check it out.
That's me all
Additional weight
day.
classes, 165, 175, 195, and 225.
Damn, there's a 225-pound weight class?
Yeah. And people that miss weight will get bigger fines. They'll get their purses, their bonus show, everything fine, and all the money goes to the opponent.
Damn, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Tip of the hat to you, California Athletic Commission.
And it passed, so.
Damn, 225 is sick.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
how sick is it?
Well, for me, it'd be great when I was fighting. That'd be ideal. Sick fighting monsters. I can make 225 easily. Dang, that's so cool, man.
So rolling out June 15.
Wow. So I think John Jones could be champ at 205, 225, 265.
Oh, yeah.
3-time champ. 225 would be an interesting weight class. I wonder how many guys would be in it. You have those big 205ers who are killing themselves, fight at 225. Dude, that's so cool. Hats off to California State Athletic Commission. That is awesome. Hopefully people follow suit. But the UFC would have to make it official too. Like the UFC has to.
How does that work?
The UFC would have to open a weight class at 225.
Oh, what am I saying?
And a belt.
So UFC and then Bellator, Invicta, they all wrote letters in support. That's what I read. So it seems as though they're down to do it. But that causes something crazy for them, right? With all the different belts that they have to make.
Not really. They're giving out interim belts fucking like Oprah.
True.
Anyway. So you might as well, make it official. And the more stars you have with belts, the better it is. Because anytime there's a belt online, the public pays attention. So it's just, you have more champs, more people to promote, hopefully. That's so sick. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so that's like, it just happened today that they announced.
What else you got,
this
brother?
passed. Oh, so Francis Ngannou He said that the fight that Stipe Miocic had against JDS, Stipe Miocic, he said he wasn't impressed by Stipe. He still believes Kane's the number one heavyweight.
How could you not be impressed?
And that's the guy he wants to fight next. However, he would take a fight with Stipe if they offered it to him.
Well, I'm confused. He's talking like he has a shot at either of them. He's talking like he's done something. I don't get it, man. You want to talk about entitlement? What the fuck you... Hey, man, you're Chuck Congo with braids right now.
He cut the braids off, too.
Did he?
Yeah.
You Chuck Congo, then. You a better version of Chuck... You Chuck Congo on steroids. You're Chuck Congo if he ate right. Like, you're a thick Chuck Congo. Relax, man. How you gonna knock on Stipe Miocic, who just dismantled JDS? And hate to tell you, Francis, I don't think you get by JDS yet. I think you're chomping and barking at the wrong tree right now. You haven't done anything. Literally nothing. You've done nothing. There's this hype train, and I have no qualms with Francis. I actually like the guy. I think he's going to be really good. For him to go, it was a good performance, but I'm not impressed. Hopefully that's just the hype thing. And he goes, I'm impressed with someone like Cain Velasquez. I think he's the best heavyweight we have, and that's why I want to fight him. Cool, man. Well, everyone does. Get in fucking line. Beat someone that's an actual test for you. And then come out talking this shit. Again, I'm not buying the hype yet. It's going to take a little bit of, tougher matchups before you can even. You're not even in the conversation. How you're ranked as high as you are right now is because you're big, scary, and black. Other than that, I don't see it, man. Why they have you ranked so high, I don't know. I guess the rest of the weight class is dinosaurs. I don't know if he gets past Travis Brown, to be honest. Verdun would tie him up. Barnett's a tough fight for him. Roy Nelson's a tough fight for him. Mark Hunt's can be a tough customer for him. Ben Rothwell's a tough customer for him. Stipe, Cain, what the fuck are you talking about? You got a lot of work to do, man.
Do you think they would actually give him Cain?
I know Dana's super high on this guy, and that they flow him out. They actually fucking put him in Vegas for a reason. So I don't know who's footing that bill for his training in Vegas, but I have super skeptical eyes. The UFC is investing in him, so I'm sure he's going to get some pretty favorable matchups, which he has thus far. I think there's going to be a little bit of outcry if they try to give him Stipe right now. You can't even sell that fight.
But they wouldn't want to either, right? If they don't want to destroy him like Yair, that whole thing.
You never know with the UFC. I have no idea what they're going to do. But he's definitely not there yet. You got to beat an actual vet who's in the game right now. And Overeem would make more sense. You have your hands full with Overeem, man. Now, if he gets in there and steamrolls through Overeem, they're like, all right, well, fuck. We have some issues. Gets in there, steamrolls Mark Hunt, or a guy like Derek Lewis, who's also on a high horse right now.
That'd be a great one.
A Derek Lewis versus him. Yeah. Like that. That stuff needs to happen before we even consider you in the top 5. Again, those rankings are all bullshit. They just are. You look at those rankings, 5. Okay, 5. Let me see a match against 5 through 12. He's gonna have his hands full. Those Cheeto finger ranking systems, it's a joke. It's really a joke. Besides the champ who earned it, like Stipe's obviously the best heavyweight in the world. Because you're going to rate him as a champ. But really, 3 through 15, it's all fucking, it's like high school.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no validation of any of it.
They've already shown that if you're fighting next, like a big fight, your rankings all of a sudden just go up.
Who do you think controls those?
I know.
There you go. What else you got, brother? Like I said, I like the guy. I have no qualms. He might be a champion, but to have this talk yet, you're crazy, man. Same thing with Yair. I think he's going to be champion. There's a lot of road to run ahead of him, man. Let's not crown these guys before they get there. Because I hate to tell you, we've seen a guy like Francis before. His name was Chuck Congo.
I'm trying to remember. I remember Chuck Congo was scary as hell.
Scary black guy.
Wasn't amazing.
Hey, scary black guy from France. Okay. Skinny legs, though.
French accent.
Very tough. Never beat the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
Always struggled with wrestlers. Name the best French wrestler. Go. It's not like a stiff program out there like he's wrestling his ass off. We haven't seen his jiu-jitsu. We haven't seen him put to the grind. We haven't seen him go 5 rounds with a world-class guy. We haven't. Until we see that stuff, you can't jump on this train yet. I like the guy. The UFC could use him. They need a champion that looks like that knocks guys out. That's that scary guy. Mm-hmm. Let's give some goddamn time. Let's see what's next for him. What else you got?
All right.
Do like 2 more.
Cool. So Jimmy Manuwa, he says that he's not able to find an opponent now since Gustafsson and Teixeira and DC and John Jones are all fighting each other.
205 stuff.
Yeah. And he also called out Shogun, but Shogun has some injury. He's not going to be done till like September, or not healed until like September. So he's considering either moving down or moving up.
225?
Weight class. Oh, yeah.
He's 225
yeah.
He's 225 all day.
229-ish, yeah.
Anthony Johnson, 225. I mean, granted, he's retired, but Jimmy Manuwa, 225 all day. I would jump to that new weight class. Let's see who else wants to tango there.
Would Kane be better off at 225?
I don't know. No, because then you're dealing with quicker, faster guys. His cardio is his biggest asset at heavyweight. The big guys can't match him cardio-wise. Some of these 205s you could make 205 might be able to match him, and they're going to be quicker, be more skilled. So I don't, 225. I think he'd be champion there. I think he'd be really good, but I think he gets down to guys with maybe similar cardio, similar boxing, wrestling skill sets, depending on the matchup.
So he's a good weight to still be able to.
He's perfect. 240 is the perfect weight for a heavyweight. Too heavy, you don't have great cardio. Too low, you don't have knockout power.
And you can still hold people, those big
perfect,
people too.
Yeah, he's strong.
Cool.
Wears them out. Wears some big old slugs out. What else you got?
Let me know if you're cool with this one being the last one, since you don't like this topic as much anymore. Dana White says this past Sunday was the day that he finalized the deal with Conor McGregor. His end of the contract for fighting Mayweather. As in, it's done on Conor's side.
Shit. I mentioned this a little bit ago. The one thing I'm worried about with this Conor Floyd talk, Conor's dead serious. Conor's going to take the fight. Dana's going to make the fight work. It's the biggest fight in UFC history. And you have boxing, biggest fight in combat sports history. My little bit of skeptical hippo eyes when it comes to Floyd Mayweather. Is he just doing this to stay relevant, and now it's put up or shut up, and we have our agreement, now you have to come to yours? Is he like, I don't want to put my legacy on the line and fight this dude, So now the ball's in Mayweather's corner. It scares me a little bit. I hope it happens. To even see Dana White and Conor have come to agreement and Conor doesn't lash out, that means it's pretty true. To realize that they actually got a deal done
on Conor's side,
which is huge. And now let's see what happens with Floyd. But I have a little bit of skeptical hippo eyes because now it's put up or shut up because we did our work. Now where are you at, boxing? So let's see what happens.
The only way out for Mayweather would be like if he said he didn't want the deal, like the deal's not good enough for him.
He's just gonna be like, the deal's shit. I'm not judging. I'm the A side here. The deal's shit. It ain't happening. So we'll see. He's notoriously known for being difficult to work with when it comes to that stuff and wants a bunch via Pacquiao Mayweather fight.
All right, so that's the current events. Do you want to do a little bit of Bellator breakdown?
Yeah, it's in the UK. I mean, you got, the main event, Roy McDonald, Paul Daly. I'm bummed that Michael Venom Page got injured and he's off this fight because he's a fun one to watch, man. He's supposed to be the co-main event against Derek Anderson. It was a knee injury, but still, it's still a good card. You got Roy McDonald making his debut on Bellator. He's been out for a while. Paul Daly's not an easy customer for his debut fight, man. And it's in, Paul Daly's neck of the woods. It's in London over there. So that's a tough one. But Roy McDonald's at that level. Obviously wrestling's going to be the key there. He needs to get Daly down. I don't think he wants to fuck with that left hook from Paul Daly. No one really does. And then Liam McGarry, again, the hometown London kid. The best light heavyweight in Bellator, not named Phil Davis. Ryan Bader's a tough matchup for him too. Not they signed him, but best light heavyweight on the Bellator roster, not named Phil Davis or Ryan Bader. He's fun to watch, brilliant on the ground, Renzo Gracie guy. Always fun to watch. I have him winning. And then Czech Congo, we're talking about Czech Congo still doing the damn thing. You got Czech fighting. It's a solid card, man. It's a really good card. And, Czech, he's won 4 in a row. I would imagine the winner, if Czech wins this, that's 5 in a row at heavyweight, which is crazy. And his only loss was the split decision to Mo Lawal, which is crazy. So, he's won 4 in a row. He wins this one, that's 5 in a row. I'd be willing to bet Czech gets a shot at the title if
Mitrione.
what happens between Mitrione and Fedor. I'm assuming Czech probably fights the winner of that. That makes sense. And then, you got Kevin Ferguson Jr. If you guys don't know, he's Kimbo Slice's son.
Baby Slice.
Baby Slice is making his debut. So I'll definitely tune into it, man. It's a fun card. Really fun card. Is that it, brother?
That's it.
Boom. And that is on Spike TV for free live on Spike this Saturday, kids. And so let's get to it, man. This was an interesting interview. Cyborg, I genuinely believe she's the baddest female fighter on the planet. And I really wanted to get in here and tell her story. And, her boyfriend who was in here, who, I say boyfriend, man, just his knowledge of the game and dealing with all of Cyborg's up and downs and career and weight cutting. And he knew the game so much. So you guys are going to hear a lot from him and the way he explains it. And, I'll preface it. This should upset you. You're going to hear this interview. And I was frustrated. And, Cyborg, when I ask her, I go, how's this? What do you want? And I thought she was going to say, I want this. I thought she didn't do the Conor McGregor thing. I want 7 figures. I want this. I want to be this. She goes, I just want to be treated like a human being, man.
Heartbreaking.
They just keep slandering my name. They keep just shitting on me. Like she's fighting these 2 fights. You guys are going to get this when you hear the story. As a former fighter, fighting is so stressful and there's so many little nuances and stresses that you have to deal with, and there's stuff going on at home, and you have to zone all that and still get the job done and train for this other world-class fighter. It's the most stressful job in the world. Now take that, and you're this 145-pound woman, and they're forcing you to cut all this weight and kill yourself, and you have to make these, you jump through the hoops and you don't get the promotion. You're not getting paid what you're worth. And your own boss is slandering your name and saying, when she had the little bit of we really didn't know what was going on with USADA, and UFC Dana comes out and goes, we all know why she's not taking the fights now. He's never really done that. There's this weird personal vendetta going on with Cyborg in the UFC, and it is insane. And I hope they figure it out, and I hope she gets her due. And I hope you guys listen to this and it makes you a Cris Cyborg fan. I've been a fan for her for a while. When you listen to this, and if you're not a fan, lose my goddamn number. If you cannot root for Cris Cyborg after this interview, fuck you. I'll say that. Probably my favorite interview I've ever done. I have Chris's back from here on out, man. And her man were just so open and honest and gave us more time than I expected. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Cris Cyborg. Ladies and gentlemen, special edition of the Big Brown Breakdown. We got the baddest woman walking this earth, the baddest fighter on the planet, Cyborg. Thank you for coming in. And next to her is her man and one smart ass dude.
Hey.
How are you doing, man?
Man, it's nice. I'm glad you guys had Cris on the show. It's a great opportunity for her to come and just kind of speak her side about a lot of the stuff that's going on right now in the media.
Yeah, I've wanted you guys on for a while. I feel like, and I said one of the reasons I started this show is I always want people to get their stories out, because in this day and age in the media, it's so easy to kind of, curve a story one way, but you never hear from it from a fighter standpoint or the athlete standpoint. And there's a lot going on behind those closed doors. But if you just hear it from this one side, you go, oh, that's terrible. Yeah, Cyborg's not doing this, or this athlete's not doing this, or God, this fighter's really being an asshole. Yeah. Because you're hearing one side of the story. So I've been dying. I've been harassing Tito Ortiz. He's the one who made. I literally been like, dude, you got to get on for me. He's like, I'll make it happen. Leave me alone, man. And so I know you're busy, and I appreciate both you guys coming in. And I just want to preface this. Before we went live on air, we were talking, and your story is so fascinating, yet for me so frustrating. If that's fair to say. And you know, I'm not here to go bad in the UFC or anything like that. I think your story needs to be told, and I think it needs to be told from your side, and that's one of the reasons I wanted you on here. And again, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
No, my pleasure to be here. You know, I mean, really appreciate all my fans helping me getting everything into my career, and you know, I'm here to talk a little bit what's going on, and you know how will be my next step.
Yeah, and there's obviously all the rumors going on the end of July card. Everyone's hoping you're on there because it's an Anaheim card. You're obviously, you know, Orange County based, so you'd be a big draw there. And you have DC and John Jones, who are obviously associated with the card. I think that's official. That's official, Chin, right? I think it's official. Pretty official.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be the main event.
Main event, although I was told, what the media was told was John Jones would never be a main event, so I think that's still up in the air. But for you, I think everyone's just dying to see you fight, see you compete. And, you know, especially this day and age in the UFC, there's a lot of stars that aren't there anymore, especially in Brazil. You know, all the stars are older. So I cannot wrap my mind around why you're not the face of women's fighting right now. Especially when they made a division for you. Let's be honest, they really made a division for you. So I think when I say this, I'm saying this, and I'm speaking for a lot of people, they want to see that belt around you. They want to see you compete. So what's going on?
You know, I want to fight soon possible after everything cleared with USADA. And in July will be 10 months. I'm not going to be inside cage. And they really ask for fight. I ask for fight in Brazil. I ask fight for Singapore. I ask for Texas. And this is not happening, you know. Then avoid make fight for me. And I never turned down fights, you know. I always, people follow my career. No, I never turned down. I'm a ready. I'm training always for be a ready. I agree fight Holly Holm in Brazil, in Brasilia. And then no say anything she's turned down fights because she's not accept fight me. And I accept to fight GDR before she fight Holly Holm. But I ask for one month time for me can get in healthy and fight her. And, man, I don't know what's going on. I really want to fight soon and, you know, prove all my fans. I still world champ. You know, I vacated my belt, but I'm still world champ. I have 10 years undefeated. Nobody beat me yet. Yeah. And if I vacate belt, if I don't have the belt on my wrist, man, I'm the world champ. Nobody can change that.
Yeah.
And
is it? Yeah. And for you, the reason you want a longer time is because of the weight cut. When you guys were having to fight at make 140, correct?
You know, it's a unique situation. Because last year, Cris fought 3 times in 8 months.
Which is a lot.
Crazy schedule.
Yeah.
Especially making 140.
Crazy schedule. 2 of those fights are at 140. I mean, when you look at other people that are doing 3 fights in 8 months, that puts you in the Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey category of competition time.
Sure.
Now she's been 10 months without a competition. You know, what happened was at the beginning of the year, she had just fought, and they were wanting to kind of like rush her back into another weight-cutting cycle. To get her to fight for that 145-pound belt that ended up being in February. And when she asked, you know, I need an off season. You know, you take an off season when you play for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
You get bigger, you get stronger, you get faster, you do deadlifts.
Recover. Yeah, get better.
So that's kind of what was happening. And they basically said, look, you know, the show needs to go on. We can't wait for one fighter. We're going to go ahead and go on with this date. We've got a venue in Brooklyn that we need to fill. And, you know, you can fight the winner of this. The unfortunate part about it is, you know, then once that fight got booked, the whole USADA thing came up. But people need to realize the USADA wasn't technically a suspension. It was a 60-day investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you look at some guys, I mean, like John Jones, you look at the press conference this weekend in Texas, that was an amazing press conference. Everybody's really excited to see UFC 214 after that. But the reality is John Jones is doing a press conference on stage while still under a suspension.
And saying that he beat Daniel Cormier while he was high on cocaine.
No. It was 1 week in cocaine, the second weekend in that ass. Completely different. But, You got a girl like Cris, she's been cleared 5 months, and we still don't have an opponent for July 29th. I mean, realistically, 5 months, and she's not at the press conference because she doesn't have an opponent.
And do you think that's the reason why you're not at the press conference? Because that press conference is kind of like, hey, this is what's going on. They do those big kind of world announcements. Is it just because you don't have an opponent? Because I can't remember the last time you were at one of those big press conferences.
Yeah, this is the big deal too. You know, I think I don't think having any promotion UFC did for me. Till I started already all the fights for UFC. I never been in Fox TV. I never have any interview. Everything I get it by myself.
Why is that? I can't understand, because what's good for the UFC is good for you. Because if we can paint this picture where you're the baddest woman on the planet, which you are, it's not like hype, right? Like, you're legit baddest female fighter on the planet. If you're painted as that builds the UFC's brand. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense to me. I don't get.
Go ahead. I'm saying you can really back this up. What you're hitting on, that question, it is a good question, because people see Cris has only fought in the UFC 2 times, and they see that there's not a lot of girls for her to fight at 145. But if you really look into the situation, you'll see Cris has actually fought 5 fights on that UFC contract.
Meaning the Invicta fights.
But those were UFC fights. Yeah, I mean, that was a UFC contract at the time. So she did 3 fights at 145 pounds. The first fight was actually the night before Ronda Rousey fought Kat Zingano. So think about that for a second. Okay, you can look at some of these girls like Ronda Rousey, and you can see how many of these Twitter followers and Instagram followers that she had when she was still fighting in Strikeforce. And then you compare those numbers to the numbers that she's had once she's gone to the UFC. Okay, you can do that same thing with Joanna Champion when she was fighting in Poland and she was in those European promotions.
Sure.
And you look at how much their following has grown.
Oh, well, there's nothing bigger than UFC media machine. That's
so now you compare Chris's 5 fights, and realistically, I mean, her social media numbers are comparable to what they were at the beginning of that 5-fight contract. Mm-hmm. They really haven't grown exponentially that large. When you start adding in some of the other ideas, like, okay, if those 3 fights were in Invicta, how much stronger is Chris's brand if they actually were in the UFC? Mm-hmm. And now, okay, we're 2 fights actually into the UFC, and people kind of want to look at that as like, okay, well, you've only had 2 fights and you're already a main event, you're already on a pay-per-view. But the reality is before Ronda Rousey even got signed, Cris was the name. Correct. So essentially, we fast forward 2 years, and now you're giving Cris a Jermaine Durandamy name, a Holly Holm name, a Kat Zingano name. I mean, these are all girls that were already signed to the organization when Cris made her debut 5 fights ago.
Yeah.
So why wasn't she fighting these girls 5 fights ago?
In UFC.
In the UFC.
And what do you think? Why do you think that is, Cris?
I'm now then put these girls for me can fight, and then I really want to fight who would be the contender number 1 supposed to fight me. It's Megan Anderson, and I don't know what's the problem. Cannot sign her
because Megan wants to fight. Correct? I see her on social media, and she's like, "Give me this fight," which I'm like, "Girl, you better watch it."
I know
she was there with Ariel, right? Cris called it bully beatdown.
Yeah, you know, I think when this happened, the first fight with GDR and their Holly Holm, I was mad because Holly Holm come the 2 lost in the row. Yeah. And the GDR, she now fight 145 long time, 5 years.
Yeah.
How you can make fight for the belt 145 pound if these girls now fight in this division?
Don't you think it was option B? Because option A was obviously you, which is why the division was created, but you couldn't fight. So like, we better figure something out here. Why they can't wait, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Why
1
they couldn't
month,
just wait, I have no idea. But it seemed like it was the option B. You know, we're like, we got to do something.
I mean, you got to really think, right? Our 5 fights are done. Okay. The Ronda Rousey fight, that was the reason why Cris signed with Zuffa.
Oh, yeah?
She believed that deep down, eventually, this fight's going to happen.
Which some people think was going to be the biggest fight of UFC history.
Would have been. Okay?
Not anymore, right? You guys realize that.
So the Ronda Rousey fight is no longer on the table. Mm-hmm. Okay? And you could have looked and said, okay, well, your next biggest fight is Holly Holm. Well, let's be real. Holly Holm lost 2 in a row. She hasn't really won a fight in over a year.
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
3 in a row now.
Yeah.
It was 2 in a row then.
Yeah.
Fans hadn't seen her win in over a year, and really her brand has devalued to the point that they barely did 200,000 pay-per-views.
It's a tough sell.
You know? So then you look, okay, well, who else are other names that we could have that would be currently on the roster? And you see a girl like Kat Zingano. And Kat Zingano's an attractive fight for Cris. I mean, it's a good fight, but you got a girl in Kat Zingano that was a real undefeated world champion at 125 pounds. When she beat Karina Dam, that made her the number one fighter in the world at that weight. They convinced her to come up, take the fight at 135. She loses that fight. She's lost 2 in a row. Now they're trying to talk her into coming up and doing another fight at 145. But
she's a name to just.
But why wouldn't you get her a win first? I mean, I understand that you want someone to fight Cyborg now, but just grabbing somebody that hasn't won a fight in several
something
years.
make me really mad about it. Like it is no respect me. I'm no lose 10 years. How's I gonna fight someone? The last fight they win 2014.
But name a good opponent that they could give you with a name that would sell. Like at least we know Kat to a point where she beat Miesha Tate, right? Where she beat Amanda Nunes.
Yes, yeah.
Like she's beat these girls, so we know of her as that. There's not a lot of female stars, so I don't know if that's a lack of respect. It's more, but also let me ask you this, Cyborg. Who the hell's gonna beat you? Does it matter? Let's just
I would like fight the girls ranking 145. I would like it then sign Megan Anderson because she deserves fight me. She's holding the belt I gave to her from the Invicta.
By leaving,
and then I think I would like fight her. I would like fight the girls 145. I would like fight Julia Budd too.
Yeah.
But all the girls 145 sign with Bellator. Then kill the division. Now then give the girls 135, 125.
The issue is there's the lack of depth at the 145, and also I don't know if they're going to find a dance partner that's going to give you a good fight. So what they're doing is maybe they're trying to find a name. And to you, is it like, okay, well, let's wait until they figure it out? Maybe Megan Anderson makes the most sense by far. Far.
The reality on this is this. Look, Holly Holm did 200,000 buys. How many buys do you think Kat Zingano is going to do? Cris is the name. She did 1.3 million views on FS1. That was the biggest women's event ever on that channel and had a 4-day lead-in time. You know, part of the reason why there's no women to fight at 145 is because it's a split division. Okay? You made the division in Invicta, and then you kept Cris in Invicta. So when you have the most dominant fighter in the world in a feeder show that's not on TV, where do you think the other women who have potential at that weight class are going to go?
They're going down. They're going to forget this.
Or they're going to go to Bellator where they're already on TV.
Correct.
So when you look at the girls that are ranked at 145, and you look at all those girls, you look at the Julia Budds. I mean, we could even look at this Alexis DeFriesne who beat Marlis Collins.
Yeah.
She was signed to the UFC. She missed weight twice at 135. She lost 2 decisions after missing weight twice and then was released. She immediately goes to Bellator to fight at 145. We have been under contract this entire time trying to get fights at 145. So now you take the 10 girls in the division and you wait 2 years to start the division. Mm-hmm. The 10 girls that are at the top are going to sign to whatever division is going to put them on TV.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which was Spike.
Yeah.
So now they were smart with the 125. They thought, you know what? These new weight changes are coming in California. People are not going to be able to make that 115. They're going to be heavier during that rehydrated weight. They're going to be forced to go up to a new weight class. So we could sit around with this 125 and we can wait, or let all the free agent talent go and sign with Bellator.
But also by doing 125, 145, it puts a better product inside the octagon.
Look at Valerie Letourneau. Saves lives. Mm-hmm. Valerie Letourneau is a girl that just fought Joanna Champion for the belt and then requested a fight at 125 and was basically told, look, there's no division. Mm-hmm. Now she's at Bellator. You know, at the end of the day, the division and the belt and this and that's semantics. It's the fighter's brand and the fights that people want to see.
I agree. So wouldn't it make sense for you just to fight really whatever the name is on that end of July card, if you can come to agreement with some of the other stuff.
Chris has been out 10 months. She's got to get paid.
That's what I'm saying.
She'd pillow fight somebody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for that July card, it's like
it's whoever. And they know
whoever,
that. They know that.
They know that.
You know, but that's the worst part about it. You know, okay, Chris didn't attend the media conference in Dallas.
Do you want to attend that stuff, or is it a matter of you guys really don't want to travel?
No, you know what the thing is? If you don't have an opponent, what are you promoting?
The same thing that's going to sell the UFC 214.
So why hasn't she officially been announced on the card?
Yeah.
I'm asking you guys.
When you have Dana White going on ESPN and he's saying, "Hey, we're hopeful. We've offered the fight to John Jones and we've offered the fight to Daniel Cormier, and if John Jones wants it, he's going to be fighting July 29th." Why don't you also say, "Hey, and by the way, Cris Cyborg's finally going to be fighting for the belt"?
Why do you think that is? The promotion, and it's happened with a lot of fighters. Like Amanda Nunes, before she fought Ronda Rousey, she got zero promotion. They put all the eggs in on Ronda because thought she was going to win, and Amanda ruins the party. Yeah. And the MMA gods don't work that way. They don't care who you're investing money in or promotion in. That's not the fight game. So it's happened to a couple of fighters.
This is the cool part.
But with you, it's always happened. Like, for whatever reason, when it comes to you and the UFC, granted they made you a division. They really, like, that division. But
you know what?
Why is it?
You say you make the division for her, but what happened when they made a division for Ronda Rousey? What happened? What happened to the belt when they made the division? What was the first thing they did?
They gave her the belt.
At where?
New York, New Jersey. It was actually New York.
At what? They were doing
it was
what?
A press conference.
Conference. So, okay, listen. You want to have people fight for this belt. That's great. That's fine. I understand it.
Legit point, sir.
But you're taking two people that aren't ranked.
Yeah.
And you're fabricating a belt for them.
Yeah.
That's it. The world rankings have no value if you're going to take somebody that's lost 2 in a row at a lighter weight class, and they're getting ready to do the same thing with Kat Zingano. I mean, I love Kat. Kat's a tremendous athlete.
Love Kat.
She's got a win over Amanda Nunes. She's got a win over Misha Tate.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be on the Ultimate Fighter until she blew her knee out.
Correct.
I mean, this is a girl that really, for whatever reason, shouldn't be getting thrown to the wolves. I love Kat. She's southpaw. She's going to walk right into that right hand.
Terrible matchup for Kat, and I think most people know that. I think it's just, like I said, there's not a lot of girls. Build it and they will come. Maybe build it and they will come. That's what they're hoping for. But the only reason why I can see them given a Kat name, like a Kat-like name, is because, like, oh, yeah, Kat Zingano, we saw her. Yeah, we know Kat, But obviously Megan Anderson, who at 145, who is a champion, there's a story there. But it's down to the nitty-gritty because we need to promote this thing.
Yeah, you're 10 weeks out now? I mean,
it's time to get going.
We're right into 10 weeks. And the reality of this is we're at 10 weeks on a date on the calendar that's been circled for 5 months. Chris has been told for the last 5 months, listen, you're not going to fight in Rio. You've already had 2 fights in Brazil. Listen, you're not going to fight in Singapore. We're going to repackage Holly and try to get her a win against Betch there. You're not going to fight in Texas.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
So we've got a date of July 29th that has been circled for 5 months.
And no promotion.
Not only no promotion, now we're missing out on promotion. Okay, she could have went to the Dallas presser. They were like, hey, would you still like to come out here? But what are we going to do? We're going to go up there and sit and answer questions about, is Holly Holm going to fight us after she wins in Singapore?
And now why nobody explained for me why we cannot fight the GDR, the champ? Why is she going to fight? Before it's about hand, and after she's had a problem, the academy police, I don't know, something family. And she know when she's supposed to fight for the belt, she's going to have defend the belt with me.
Yeah, well, it was strange because she won in the octagon. She's like, I'll fight anyone. And Rowan's like, Cyborg's out. She's like,
I got this hand injury.
What'd you say?
You see this hand now?
Hurts, man.
I know, yeah.
You know what? Give me a second to think about it. You say Cyborg, I'm going to need a second. And now, we literally, no social media, nothing. See ya. You scared off the streets.
And I hear the people close to her say, man, she's training normal training. Nothing problem in her hand. And okay, if the UFC cannot force her to defend her belt, because probably they signed just one fight, like 145, one fight, she's going to back 135 and they're going to steal with the belt. And then why they make the belt for?
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
You have to force her. At least she won't fight Cyborg, so we're going to have to take the belt.
At the end of the day, though, the belt. It's not a true world championship.
For me, it's nothing.
It's not a true world championship.
At 145, if Cyborg has the belt,
No, right now, that belt
Hankin don't help anything. The
is
belt.
not a true world championship. You're going to say Jermaine Durandamy is the world champion of the world. No one's going to believe that. Okay,
no.
So the belt is irregardless. Listen, 140 wasn't a weight class. Cris was fighting at 140.
It's a fake weight class. Yeah.
So why wasn't she fighting at 145? And I get that the goal was always to get her down to 135. That was the UFC's goal. But that division was never the money division. The fighter, Ronda Rousey, was the money fighter. Yeah. And look, dude, you used to wake up next to her. You know that fight was never going to happen. Like deep inside of her soul, she knows that if she fought Cyborg, she wasn't going to pass to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think anyone wanted to fight. I don't think anyone wants to fight Cyborg. This is the problem you guys are always going to have.
So
always.
now this is the thing: is it's time to showcase her, right? I mean, if it's
I don't understand. It's happening with you, but it's happening, like Amanda Nunes, like no one barely, she's the world champion at 135. No one knows her story. She has a great story. So it's happened with a lot of people. My huge issue, and I'm serious when I say this, and it hurts me, is it's always happened with you though. Like it's not like it's new. Like some of these fighters are like, come on, man, I need more PR. I need some help. I get that, bro. You've been doing this for a year. Relax. With you, it's never been there.
Yeah.
You don't want to hit the nail on the head. You really don't. You don't want to throw accusations out there. But we're on this side. And, the night Ronda Rousey gets knocked out by Holly Holm, it's like the good old boys club. They're all flying back on a personal jet. They decide they want to do a podcast just like this. And you got, Dana White didn't necessarily tell the joke, but there's 3 guys sitting in a booth and they're all laughing about it. And you got Tony talking about Cyborg has to cut off her dick to make 135. And, at the end of the day.
But I understand they're mad because Ronda lost, but it's not my fault.
But at the end of the day.
Does that hurt you guys business wise though? Because that was the money fight. That was the biggest fight in the world.
Yes.
So when you saw it, we're like, well, there goes that.
Yeah.
You know what? We never thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
In your heart of heart, you never thought you were going to fight Ronda? Never.
She's already run from Strike Force because she started fighting 145 there.
That's right.
And then I asked for this fight. Then I say, no, she need more time. She need more time. I asked for this fight in Strike Force because she's called me out in one fight.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's do this fight. And then never happened.
Did you imagine Ronda's career would have ended like it did with those back-to-back knockouts?
No, I think they did it really nice with her, like then give it girls for her fighting. No, she's going to beat these girls. And because she cannot take a punch. She cannot. And then handle her in little bit, give girls for she can beat. And then when giving her like a girls like to punch, like Holly Holm, like Amanda Nunes, she cannot handle it. You see, she's retired. She's gonna do move.
Yeah.
And then, but I think then the manager is smart about this. Her training, not have so much punch you, for she can stay more time. Be a fighter, Now she's getting the reality like this. The reality, you go to the fight and fight for the real fighter. And then if she's supposed to fight me, man, they're gonna be the worst Amanda did it for her.
Yeah.
And then I already know about when she's fighting Amanda Nunes. The first punch I remember about Holly Holm, and she's out. She's not there.
Yeah.
And then everybody, I think they did it wrong, put her fight Amanda Nunes straight after 1 year. I think why they don't put her a couple fights first.
A warm-up fight.
And after fight with Amanda. And then people ask me, you do like fight Ronda? I said, man, I would like she getting fights, getting win first, and get her confident again. And then maybe we can do this fight for all the fans. Why are you gonna fight someone? It's no good in the mind.
Oh no,
right
that
now.
ship sailed.
Why am I gonna fight someone that's
Amanda
lost?
Nunes, like, you guys think you like that matchup still? Check this out.
And
No,
the
that was over.
other thing too, then protect so much Ronda for not fight me. And then fight with Amanda Nunes. Imagine if they make this fight with me, how much money they're gonna make.
What a lot
And
of
it'll be the same in the end.
Yeah,
Same end.
you get the same result.
Same result.
It might have been a little quicker, but you get the same result. But you're this
More money.
superstar, and they would have had more money.
You know, what you're saying about the Ronda Rousey connection, that's a bigger deal than people realize.
Meaning?
When Cris, when that Strike Force cell went down, and Cris essentially told the UFC, hey, look, dude, I'm not going to sign a deal. I'm not going to make 145 or 35. I'm going to stay at 145. I don't know exactly who was responsible for these articles or what group of people would have gotten together to do this, but there is a clear trail on the internet of what would appear to be paid posters, paid articles, paid authors that really tried to really highlight Cris and really push her to be the face of steroid abuse in mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Who were the people that were really driving that media source? Who were those people on the forums that like had one name and started leaving comments? Who knows? But there's a lot of people out there. Strikeforce or Bellator's out there, and they're convinced that the UFC has a staff of people posting on the internet for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you have Cris. The fight with Ronda is one thing, but then the anti-marketing and the negative publicity that went against her really made her the face of steroid abuse in MMA. And now you fast forward, we had this USADA incident, and I know there's some people out there that, this is, listen, before this was ever even announced, the UFC was in contact with Cris's doctors.
So they were aware of
this is a documented needed treatment, and there's no other medicine on the market that can treat her ailments the same, which is why USADA gave her a clear pass for this.
But the issue was you just didn't you weren't up front with them right away.
You know what the issue was she didn't realize when she talked to her doctor, she didn't realize that there was an added step needed to complete this. She thought that as long as she was out of competition, there was no issue.
The UFC knew this. Nowitzki knew all
this whole thing. It wasn't a 2-month suspension with Cris. It was a 2-month investigation.
Yeah.
See, but the issue is so you guys know this, right? But then when it gets to the media, Cris Cyborg, USADA flagged, everyone goes, But
you know what happens? What causes that? It's some guy in a hotel, picks out his cell phone, calls TMZ, tells TMZ, hey, come and meet me outside. And then when TMZ meets them outside for an interview, he tells them in a very lead yourself to your own conclusions. Well, I just thought it was really weird when she was turning down tests, and I guess we all know now why she was doing it.
Yikes.
You try to put an illusion that she's cycling off of something. And then you have a known a guy who has multiple offenses that gets tested 2 weeks later. And when you ask that same person about Josh Barnett, they're like, well, I don't really know enough about the Josh Barnett thing to comment on that.
I know.
And how frustrating is it for you guys? Because then everyone jumps on and goes, steroid abuse.
Frustrating. It took $40,000 out of our bank account.
Well, it slanders
I
your
lost
brand.
a sponsor. I lost a lot of sponsors.
We lost 2 monthly sponsors within 10 days of Dana White's interview.
And how easy would it have been for the UFC? Maybe don't say if you don't say anything, or don't slander the brand, and don't you don't ruin what you guys have built, and just go, listen, it's a flag thing. We're aware of it. It was from a doctor. It's not what you guys are thinking.
Yeah.
Let us get to this investigation.
Leave USADA doing what they didn't do. No.
And you see other people have been busted by USADA, right? We just had the guy that fought down in Mexico with the inhaler, and they didn't announce anything about his flagged USADA testing, and it didn't get revealed until after he already got the TUE. So he gets the TUE, and then they say, oh, by the way, we had a flag sample with an inhaler down in Mexico, but we got the TUE. So who dictates when and how this is going to be released? Because when you call TMZ and you say the way it's said, you make it look like she's a steroid user.
There's no going back.
No going back.
The general media is going to go, steroids. They don't look into it.
And don't do anything for change this.
When you got a guy like Joe Rogan, and look, dude, I know you and Rogan, maybe you guys are boys and you hang out or whatever,
brother,
but tell that guy he's an idiot. At the end of the day, you're not rubbing spironolactone on your head to grow more hair.
You're saying that based off a fight campaign where
he says Cris is going to be banned for life.
Yeah.
When you go on a fight companion, okay, and this is now the second incident. We're just talking about the dick joke that just actually happened to be on a fight companion as well.
That was not a fight companion.
What was it?
That was a regular podcast. Tony Hinchcliffe and Dana White.
Okay, but it's the same person. So we've got another Joe Rogan incident where he's using his platform.
He's
using his platform to put out half truths. And at the end of the day, when she's not banned for life,
Yes.
it's 2 months later by the time that actually is made public.
You're saying it's slandering the name.
I'm not saying it's slandering the name, but I'm saying if we all work for the company, then why are we shitting on each other?
Yeah. Can't.
That's fair. I think in Rogan's defense, Grant maybe shouldn't have said anything. I just don't think he knew at all.
I don't think he knew anything.
Yes. I don't think he was aware of
So,
If you know,
there's
don't
no
say
reason
anything,
for
yeah.
you to be saying that somebody's going to be banned for life.
If you don't know.
That's
yeah.
aggressive.
That's
It's beyond aggressive. It's costing us money.
yeah.
I mean, it's costing at the end of the month when the $5,000 sponsor check doesn't come in, and they tell me, "Hey, look, we really like Cris, but we just can't really associate our brand with this."
I have a lot of
That's
emails
heartbreaking.
about this.
What do you do? And then you don't fight for 10 months. Listen, if Cris built houses, let's just put this into a different scenario real quick. Cris from Brazil is an immigrant house builder. She doesn't have a boss. She goes and she builds houses for whoever has a house that wants to be built. She's got all of her tools. She's talked to a guy about building a house. The guy's not sure where he wants his house, when he wants it built. He's not even for sure exactly what house he wants built yet. But he knows he wants Cris to be her to build the house. Okay. Cris has sat 10 months waiting to build that house. She's ready to go to work. Her company is ready to fulfill orders and go to work. For 10 months, we have not received a single paycheck from our real job of fighting.
Yeah.
Now, so let's just play devil's advocate. Is the UFC going to say, well, you turned down those two fights?
100%. That's the play. Hey, look, Cris, you were turning down fights.
And to your defense, you're saying, we told you we need this time to.
Yeah, I said
that cuts too much.
No, I said I cannot drop 140 anymore. You know, my next fight have to be 145. If you guys cannot be at 145, man, I cannot be UFC. I have to
can't
leave
fight? Yeah.
because I would like fight 145. And I really need the time for cut weight again. It's no problem. I have to cut weight for 145 too. But I did it two times in 8 months. I fight 3 times. And then my doctor told me, Cris, if you're gonna cut weight again in 1 month later, 2 months later, your fight after a fight, I'm not gonna be with you.
And the
Because
UFC is
it's not
aware
healthy.
of all this.
Well,
I told them it's about my health. It's never about I don't want to fight.
yeah.
And I don't have any problem with any boss. You know, Scott Coker, my boss, Strike Force, he close fight for me. I do the fight, do my best. And then all my fans with me now, then come from Strike Force. When I fought Gina Carano, I did 1 million or more when I fought Gina Carano, and people watch this fight. Everybody coming with me. UFC don't agree any for fans for me.
Yeah.
Then follow me all my career. And then everything happened in my career. They make way with about the fighting for me for having 145 pounds. And then now about the fight for the belt, for the champ. It's all my fans help me. It's all my fans. Because then go over there and I'm really thankful for all my fans because they watch all my career. They know what they're doing for me, you know. And they know the new fans just to start to watch UFC now. Because I'm a fighter 11 years old now already. And then I getting tired. You know, I getting tired this. I getting tired.
I can't imagine.
All the time when I'm in the house and somebody call me, my manager call me, I want to talk about UFC, say, man, after my training. I don't want to kill my training, my vibe training, you know, and let's talk to you about training because always it's bad news. It's nothing good news.
I mean, your fight, the issue that you're fighting at your level is you're this world champion. You're not only fighting your competition, you're fighting the brand, the machine. Which is even more exhausting than what the work you're doing in the octagon.
If you really talk about it, right, and if we take it from their standpoint, it's supposed to be 2 companies. We got the Cris Cyborg brand, we got the UFC brand. These 2 companies are supposed to work in conjunction. Cris, while Cris is getting paid from the UFC, right, they're giving her I don't know, whatever her show salary is and her win salary. Cris is also paying the UFC for the promotion, right? You got to think when she fights in Anaheim, she's probably going to make, I mean, I'm not throwing numbers out there. There's some nerds that'll probably Google some things, but she's probably going to make 10% of the gate. So that other 90% of just ticket sales, you know, that's kind of what you're paying to the promoter to promote you.
Yeah.
Put me on TV, help me get some of these commercial slots, maybe put me in a couple of magazines.
Build my brand.
Help me build my brand.
I never went to one magazine. They've never put me in any magazine.
No magazine?
Nothing.
But what's crazy to me is, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're local, you're in Orange County, and UFC Tonight is literally up the street, and they fly people in all over, and you've never been on UFC Tonight?
Never.
And I mean, when you look at how this whole slant of Chris is turning down fights, like you have to listen to that. You know, when Dana came and broadcasted that, what he did was he did this. Well, you know, we offered her a fight 8 weeks, and she's saying she can't make it in 8 weeks, and so we offered her another fight in 10 weeks, and she's saying she still can't make it in 10 weeks. Man, if you're so fucking big that you can't make 145 in 10 weeks, you're in the wrong weight class. But in reality, what happened was we said, hey, look, we just had a season. We did 3 fights in 8 months. We now need an off season, right? What sport plays year round? Baseball, football, basketball?
There's none. There's none.
Okay, so we've had our season. Now we want our off season. So when you say that we're turning down fights, you're not really being honest with that.
The truth.
Yeah.
Because the reality is we said, look, we're taking a break now during our off season. But Holly Holm, before we went on break, we already said, hey, look, we'll fight you. You want to fight UFC Brasilia fight night? That was supposed to be the fight. It wasn't supposed to be some girl named Lena Landsberg that I had to Google.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Who?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No.
Nobody. With 1.3 million views against nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a situation of when you're putting information out there to intentionally make the brand look like they're ducking fights and they're turning down fights. That's not the reality. The reality is, look, you know what? She told me she couldn't really enter into a weight cutting session for like another 12 weeks
because
she wants to let
herself.
She wants to let her hormonal balance back out.
But my question for you guys, so I saw Dana said that, and you know, obviously I'm in the business, so I'm like, I wonder what's really going on there. But the general public's going, damn, I can't believe she's turning down 2 fights. Now she's
Then don't
complaining.
know.
Get on her Twitter right now.
But why don't you guys come out and be like that? Whoa, that's you. Before Dana comes out, like, whoa, that ain't what's happening. Here's what's happening.
Yeah.
We do
Would that not be better?
We do that.
Like, Cyborg YouTube channel where like, hey, before Dana does this, here's what's happening.
Yeah, have to be before.
Like literally just like, here, what's up? Before here's the horses.
We have to make one podcast in the house because every day one thing.
Yeah, you can use my studio anytime you want. You guys
every day I'm going to make my locker room and I'm going to make, because every day one new thing.
Yeah.
I have to do like this.
I just feel like, and we have Cherie Carlson, she was a photographer. She's a friend of yours. She was like, I didn't know you at the time. She's like, I'm telling you, Cyborg is the nicest person you ever. Anyone who knows you is like, she is literally the nicest person you ever meet. So I've never been intimidated or scared. I've heard great things about you. So when I see like Brian Stain go, oh, she's difficult to work with. Now I know Brian. Brian's a friend. I went, well, hold on, Brian. The reason you said that is because you want to interview fighters the week of the fight. You want this inside access to the fight week of the fighters in their hotel room, and you have Cyborg, who has the toughest weight cut out of anyone on that card. So when you say she's difficult to work with, you're a fighter yourself, you should know how difficult that week of the fight is. It's not that she's difficult. There's a list of priorities. And you getting her game plan in her goddamn hotel room probably isn't on top of the priorities.
Yeah, if you ask any employee at UFC, I never late one interview. In the UFC 198, my last fight, but my last fight, the worst cut. And of course I'm difficult to work with. When you don't want to work together. When Sammy, you said, man, I don't just fight in the cage. I don't just go over there, put my gloves. This is the easy part. I have to fight outside you. Outside one company. I always name my name. I always speak bad thing about me. I have to go there to defend myself. And now I speak in English. I'm learning, but I can defend myself by me. But before, how I can defend myself? How? 3 years ago, 40 years ago.
This is a really sad
everybody's
story.
saying my name, and then I cannot explain my name. I cannot explain English, and everybody doing this. Rhonda do this because before when I moved to America, I cannot speak in English, and she's always talk about the steroids, talk about the bad thing about me. How I can defend myself is I even cannot understand what she said, and I can speak in English, you know, and then. This is the fight every day. I say, man, I don't know if you're better. I'm not learning English or better stay with don't know what's
Are you not exhausted with this fight?
Yeah, I am.
Are you exhausted?
I'm tired.
I'm surprised you guys are like, you know what?
No.
Fuck you guys.
I'm really tired.
I bet I'm exhausted.
I'm really tired.
The thing about
I
it
keep
is,
fight for my fans because, you know, I love my job, what I'm doing. And I was in my focus when I start training. I said, I want to be the best word. I want to, you know, I want to do my best. And if I don't have money now, but I go work hard and I do my best there, and I'm gonna beat the girls in the cage, my life is gonna change.
Yeah.
And then don't change. Don't change. It's still the same. Just I beat all the girls in the cage. Nobody have to say anything. People don't have time for go restroom when I'm fight. It's last 30 seconds or 1 minute. Nobody can. And then don't change. Don't change. And then the UFC is other. Then try then try say something. I'm not this person.
Yeah.
I'm not a mean person. I'm a mean person inside the cage. Yeah, I did a mistake. I did. I paid my mistake. Man, I try overcome everything happened. I show the people, man, you never give up. Doesn't matter where you at.
When you say mistake referring to
About my first doping in 2012. I did a mistake. I said, man, I did a mistake. I'm gonna pay. Stay 1 year off. I don't fight. Man, I overcame everything. I show everybody the mistake. Nobody perfect. And then what do you deal with mistake you do? You have to change it. And I'm doing this every day. I show them. I be the example for all my fans, all the younger girls. I show them to no good doing something bad. What's gonna happen in your career, but don't change. The people crucifies me because I have a lot of people did the same mistake. They don't say the name like
they
this.
Forgive them. There's been a lot of people
they didn't have an
flagged.
entire marketing campaign against them.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there's guys like Chael Sonnen, and we can name it Overeem.
We can name a lot of them. We don't got to throw everybody's dirty laundry.
I could keep going all goddamn day, and for whatever reason, the public has forgave them. But I feel like for you, they have not.
Never had to remember.
Do you feel like that was the biggest mistake in your life?
I think you do mistake every day. I think you do mistake every day. I don't feel why I did this. No, I think everything happened in my career, in my life. I get to be better person and a better athlete. And a lot of things happen with me about the doping thing too. I always have my belt like my idol, my goal. And then I see it's belt is nothing, man. At the time I have 3 belts in my house and there's no money for it. And they say, man, the belt's nothing. I want to fight, make my fight, and then this show me a lot of friends. I supposed to be my friends, no friends.
Yeah.
This is teaching me a lot of things. Teach me, make me growing like a woman, be a fighter, athlete. And I don't feel sorry what's happened. No, this happened, and all the things, bad things happen in my career, my life. I try to see why I have to learn from this.
Yeah.
And then ever do the mistake, and I wanna be. Everything happened in my life now. I want to be an example for all the girls. All the girls for change. About I fight. I want to fight 145. I want to open other divisions because I know I'll have other girls. I don't want them pass everything I pass in my life. I have to make 140. I have to kill myself and make a weight for have the opportunity. And the top 10 fighter and everybody watch my fights. And then I want to change it for the young girls. Change this. And about ranking too, about I say the Ray Elbe, I want to be participate about Ali Act. I think it's important because if you see my career, man, I'm 10 years in the field. I have to vacate my belt because then letting me fight for my division. And then I'm size more than 1 year. I know I can fight some contender number 1 on 45. This couple things are going to happen.
It's been over a year since Cris has fought who would be considered the number 1 contender at 145. And it's not because she doesn't want to fight. And it's not because they're not in the same promotion. Because you got to understand, Cris had 3 fights under UFC contract defending her world number 1 ranking. Mm-hmm. The UFC has that Jasmine Duke. She was in Invicta on a UFC contract. I mean, you've got Mackenzie Dern. She's on a UFC contract right now. So I can see her frustration on the outside as just watching her. She wants to fight the best in the world. She doesn't want to fight Holly Holm when she's 0-3. She wanted to fight Holly Holm when she just knocked out Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
She doesn't want to fight Kat Zingano after she hasn't won a fight in 3 years. She wanted to fight Kat Zingano the night that Ronda Rousey fought Kat Zingano. And all these names, people are like, okay, well, this needs to happen, and that needs to happen, and this needs to happen. People need to realize Cris has completed 5 fights already.
But you're also the A side. You're also the A side, jumping through all these hoops.
Ronda had 6 wins in the UFC. We've had 5 UFC contract wins already. We have 1 less win than Ronda Rousey had for the company. Think about that. Ronda Rousey had 6 wins. We've had 5 for the same company.
How exhausting is it for you? Because you guys obviously, you see it at home, the social life. Like, before you came here, I see Cyborg as this warrior, like the best fighter on the planet. Like, I see that. How difficult is it for you? Because I get emotional seeing you guys talk about this. It's not fair, man.
You know what? I fought, I don't know, 10 different countries. I've had, between the mixture of fights, I've had a lot of different fights. Won some belts, won some things. I've never been a world champion. And when I see her, I know why. This girl wakes up 5 a.m. She's up. She goes, hits her jog. She comes back. She drinks a coffee, takes a nap. 9:30 a.m. She's off. She goes to boxing. She comes back. Takes a little bit of a break. 4 o'clock, wrestling. She comes back. 7:15. Another. When she made 140, people don't realize this. She was running 8 to 12 miles
per day.
A day.
Jesus Christ.
I'm talking about this girl put in 50 miles of road work on top of everything else.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, when she cut weight, she just wanted to run on the treadmill because she ran 50 fucking miles a week to make that weight.
Jesus Christ.
So I know why I'm not world champion. And when Cris made 140, I'm the boyfriend. Yeah. I fight, so I'm like, okay, I have to drag your ass down and make sure you make the weight. So I've got you crying. I'm actually worried that, like, hey, let's make sure we get all of her fights, we run her to the hospital before we start the weight cut, and we run her to the hospital after the weight cut. I don't know how many fighters really do that, but we pay for that. We do it because we know it's an unsafe weight cut. Mm-hmm. The entire time she's doing the weight cut, we've got a heart monitor strapped up to her. We are legitimately concerned for her health. And the thing is for what? What were those 2 fights at 140 for?
For what?
What were they for?
Why couldn't it be at 45?
What were they for?
I have no idea.
And who were they against?
Yeah.
Just to see her murk these girls, what she would have done at 45 and not kill herself?
So, and I understand the goal was to get her down to 135, and that was really the goal.
But they never know they're not going to close fight.
But now we fast forward, and you got Dana White giving interviews talking about, well, we can't really have enough women divisions. And the more weight classes we bring in, I'm on board with adding in weight classes. So basically you're telling us, okay, look, I know you did 5 fights. But for 5, 6, and 7, we're going to have you fight girls that you could have fought 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So basically those 5 fights, I mean, you didn't really waste your career because, we did give you a little bit of promotion over the last year. But when you think about it, man, she hasn't fought in 10 months. During that 10 months, we had that whole USADA fiasco.
Yep.
What type of work between the 2 companies have been done to help repair the damage done to this company? And now Cris made a bad decision about not putting the TUE process in order.
Front,
And I would say that this was more bad advice from her doctor. She didn't really have a clear understanding of the policies and procedures.
Either way, you guys.
But now, tell me the reason for Joe Rogan saying you're going to be banned for life. Tell me the reason for saying that she's going to have to cut her dick off to make 135. Tell me the reason for saying that, we know why she was turning down those fights now and alluding to the fact that it has something to do with Bomba. Tell me that.
Out of those 3, though, so Tony Hinchcliffe is a comedian. Rogan's is comedian personality, right? So let's just.
I want to hear this.
But the issue there is the owner of the company. When he's in on it, that's where you have
Joe Rogan's not a
issue.
comedian when you're flying back from a UFC company event on a UFC company transportation.
He's an employee.
Yeah.
He's an employee.
But what I'm saying is it's not like you're a if I were to sit here and ask friends, name me a personality from the UFC, how long would it take before Joe Rogan's name got named?
Was number 1, yeah.
So you're a direct reflection on this. And if we are 2 companies,
we have to help.
the last 10 months, we're 2 companies. Cris is paying Ford for what? Because we covered this earlier. She takes her 10% of the gate and she gives 90% of the gate in exchange for promotion. So for the last 10 months, okay, we fought Brasilia. We fought Curitiba. Curitiba, 54,000 fans. Anderson Silva pulls out of the main event or the co-main event, and Cris still adds roughly 50,000 buys to Mark Hunt and Verdum's pay-per-view number. Okay, Brasilia, she beat...
Mark Hunt and Miocic?
No, it was Mark Hunt and Verdum did 180,000
okay.
pay-per-view buys.
Yeah, okay.
Miocic and Verdum did 220. So who attributed for the extra 50,000 buys?
Yeah.
Anderson Silva wasn't on the card. It was Cris Cyborg's debut. Okay, UFC Brasilia, she breaks the gate. So let's just say off of both of those events, let's do it conservative. Let's say they only made $4 million off of both of those events. Cris has paid forward $8 million for promotion. And for the last 10 months, she's waited to have that money come back in the form of promotion and promotional push from the company.
You guys feel like there's only been slandering or no resurrection of what really happened.
I feel like there's been no recourse, or I don't want to use the slavery term of retribution.
That's fair in this.
But I feel like there's been no. I feel like there's been no retribution paid forward for what has already happened.
And I think it's a combination of things. I think it's been an ongoing thing with you guys for a while. There seems to be some personal grudge there. It's
Hold that on the nail right there. Hit it.
It's a personal thing. 2, since they sold a WME IMG, they really don't know what they're doing. So a lot of guys aren't getting promoted. So you're getting lost in that shuffle. So you have this perfect storm where it fucks you guys over.
And the end result is this.
Yeah. How this is? Here's my question, to you guys. How would you like this to, in a perfect world?
Yeah.
It's April. I'm sorry. It's July 27th, Anaheim card. You guys want to be on there. You want to opponent. In a perfect world, how's this end for you guys? Chris?
I want to fight anybody who's going to put in front of me. I will have 2 fights left. And then have 2 fights can fix the problem.
Yeah.
For the 2 companies to work together. I will upset. No, I'm not happy. I work every day. I go train every day. I get in my car. I train every day. Do spar every day. Think about I have 2 left in my fight.
So you're just trying to get those 2 out of the way and then take it from there.
I don't know. I really want to talk, man. I think I get in my car. I already finish these 2 fights. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I love my job, but I'm tired of all these things.
I bet you're exhausted.
I'm exhausted about everything.
I'm exhausted hearing the story.
I know, and then I love my job. I love all my fans, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And then before I enjoy fight, and now it's stress all the time.
So what would make you happy, Chris?
They respect me like athlete. They respect me what I deserve. Man, I do a lot for sport.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. No, don't have to do nothing for me. Don't slam my brain. Don't say bad things. No one say good. Don't say it.
You just want to be treated like everyone else.
Leave me fight. Do what I'm doing, and what I deserve.
I think the personal thing that you hit on, I don't know if it's a personal issue between the relationship, the rivalry between Cris and Ronda. I mean, everybody really knows that there's a real power that Ronda had within that company.
And Dana, yeah.
I don't know if the relationship is maybe left over between Dana and Tito. I mean, I hear they're on a lot better of a term now and they're talking pretty regularly. But it is clearly not just athlete sport.
No, something's going on here.
And it's not pay. Cris is not pricing herself out of promotion. I mean, if you look at all those guys on the Fox FS1, they're top 10 biggest rated events. There's nobody that has had a top 10 ratings for FS1 that made less money than Cris. And there's about 5 or 6 people on that rating that made more money to lose than Cris made even to get there. I mean, you got a guy like Gegard Mousasi who's complaining legitimately about salary. Mm-hmm. Mousasi makes more money just to get in the fucking cage than Cris makes to win.
His show? Yeah.
His show is more than her show and win combined. And I know a lot of people are like, well, she's only had 2 fights in the UFC. But that's what people don't understand. She's 5 fights deep. Ronda only won 6.
Well, and to your argument there, though, she's 5 fights deep, but even before that, you're talking about Strikeforce, talking about all this stuff.
And
there's a career there, which is to the argument where Gegard complained about Mark Hunt, and Dana goes, "Dude, look what Mark Hunt did before he got here." Yeah. So that's the same argument with Cris. Like, what are you talking about? When we talk about female fighters, there's really 3 really famous ones. You got yourself. You got Ronda. You got Gina Carano. Outside that, Joanna's getting there, but she has a lot of work to do.
She's getting.
Well, she's getting a ton of push.
Push. I mean, the whole press conference was scheduled around her event.
Yeah.
Everybody was there. She's co-main event with Conor. She's co-main event with Ronda. She's on The Ultimate Fighter. She's on Big Fox. If you look at Misha, Holly, Joanna, and Cyborg. So those are the 4 biggest names now. The only one never to fight on Fox, Cris Cyborg. The only one to never get a performance bonus, Cris Cyborg.
What?
You've
never got a bonus?
Never.
The only one to fight on.
I've lost all
The
energy.
only one to fight on Fight Pass more than once is Cris Cyborg. So now the relationship is this: she hasn't been paid. I mean, she's been compensated for her fights, but it's not to the point where you're like, I'm afraid to go on the open market because I don't think I can make what I'm making here. We look at the Bellator salaries and we say, man, okay, we can feel fairly confident.
And
that we
one
can
thing
get
I said,
that.
it's not just about pay. It's not just about pay.
Respect.
Respect and don't stress out.
Yeah.
You know, if you okay, Chris, I'm gonna pay this for you. You just go over there, do your fight, you leave, you get your money. Man, I'm happy. Now I have. It's not just it's not just about money. This is how I talk to my manager all the time. It's not just about money. It's about don't have the stress outside the cage. This is the worst thing. You know, I want to fight. It's not just it's not just about money. You know, they don't respect me like athlete. Don't respect Cris Cyborg. They don't respect, and I don't think this is gonna change. You know, for me now, not gonna change. Never gonna change. And I'm tired for try change, and then do my best in the cage, but don't change anything.
Do you think it'll change if you fight in that July card? You get the belt, and they have to change to you?
I don't think they're gonna change it, but this thing here.
Have you sat down with any of the brass and just been like, "What's going on here, man?"
5 months, I asked for a seat in the room. I would like to talk to them for see what's the plan they have for me. Why they don't sign more 145 girls?
It's hard to
Why
feel
I have
committed
to
if they're not
fight
signing anyone.
for the girls 135? I have to fight the girls I can fight 3 years ago. I can fight these girls. And why they don't sign girls 145 from me fight? They don't want command make the my 145 pound. Okay, but let me know that. Oh, Chris, we're gonna make fake fights for you, like one fight with 135.
40,
Come on, girl,
yeah.
115 fight you. Okay, I know. I knew what the plan had for me. Now you don't sign the girls 145 for me fight. I don't trust. I don't know what's going on.
UFC 214, Anaheim, July 29th. It's a great opportunity for these two companies before that night to get into a room and try to sort this out.
Like now.
I mean, because, let's talk about that press conference. They were okay with her going there. I mean, she could have sat up there and not had an opponent.
They asked you guys to go?
It was presented like, hey, would you like to go? But we don't have an opponent
One day
for
before?
you.
One day before? I mean, I'm not going to...
But now this is the thing, right? So the day of the press conference, we're not there because we don't have an opponent. Within about 2 hours after that press conference, Combate,
Canal Combate.
the number one website for Brazilian MMA,
Huge, yeah.
runs an article confirming that Cris Cyborg is going to fight Kat Zingano. So Chris takes the initiative to call the website. Says,
Who
okay,
said that? Because
I would like to know.
Yeah, that's news to me.
You're confirming this. I would like to know who your source is. Right now, tell me who your source is. They said it's Dana White. So now if Dana White can circulate a rumor in Brazil or have somebody from his team
First in
call
Brazil.
down there to circulate the rumor in Brazil the day of the press conference, and we've been looking at this July 29th date circled, being told that we can't fight in Singapore, we can't fight in Rio, we can't fight in Texas. You have to fight July 29th because it's going to be Jermaine Durandamy for the belt 5 months, which you guys still haven't heard any official updates on Durandamy.
Nothing.
It's not going to be July 29th. Okay. Everybody's known that for some time. So now, why couldn't we have done this Kat Zingano to where we actually both got marketing at the press conference?
Yeah.
Because the same day of the press conference
Yeah.
He announced the
is
fight.
when this thing gets announced. And now it's not a done deal. I know Kat hasn't signed, and Kat probably is wanting to get paid more than what she got paid for Ronda, as she should, right?
That's what I said when I saw Megan Anderson asking for the fight. I went, I like your style, Megan. You need to get paid before you step in with Cris Cyborg.
Everybody.
You better make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's, because when you get in there with Cyborg, you might not come out the same type of fighter. So make sure you're getting paid.
So there's no reason that deal couldn't have already have been done. There's no reason why it's been delayed. I mean, it wasn't that many weeks ago that Chris was up there tweeting to Sean Shelby like, hey, look, Sean, dude, my manager has not heard from you. Who am I fighting July 29th? If you don't want to fight me, release me. I need to work.
Yeah,
I'm ready to work. And, they did call her manager right away. What the hell's your problem? What the hell's her problem? Why is she tweeting this? We told you July 29th. We told you July 29th.
Cool. Who is it?
Who?
And they had no answer for you.
No.
Do you think maybe they just couldn't find anyone?
For sure they can't find anybody. It's Cris Cyborg, the baddest fucking bitch on the planet. Nobody wants to sign up for that fucking fight. I go home and do the fucking dishes so I don't have to sign up for that fight.
I hear you.
Okay?
I hear you.
She does the laundry, though.
Yeah.
Just keeping it real. But the thing is when she went up there and had the meeting, after her first fight at 140, they flew up there and she wanted to
Flew up where? Vegas?
To Vegas.
At the UFC headquarters.
Before it was the headquarters.
Gotcha.
Right? So she goes up there and she tells them, look, man, 140 was good. I felt okay. It was a tough cut, and I can't do this consistently. So I would like my next fight to be at 145. I'd like, if you actually look at that 198 after the fight, they're like, so what's next for you, Cyborg? And they all expect her to be like, I'm going to fucking kill Ronda. No. She said, I'm world champion. What's next for me? I would like to go back to 145 and defend my belt.
Yes.
So then immediately she flies up to Vegas, and they basically sit her down and say, look, Cris Cyborg,
You never go back.
you're never going back to Invicta. You're a UFC fighter, and you have to fight at 140 because we don't have your division. So we went down to Brasilia, and there's a lot of semantics. He said, she said. Not everybody kind of agrees with what really went down there at Brasilia. But
in what regards?
In regards to just what went on, right? Some people are saying, the UFC has kind of filtered some rumors that Cris was lying about her weight and misreporting her weight and this and that.
The week of the fight.
And I ascertained bullshit. We got it all on video. We made a fucking documentary. I had a film crew the entire time.
You did that yourself.
Yeah. So
George Lockhart,
you can actually look at the documentary and you'll notice there's no Invicta footage.
Because you guys, at the time, the UFC hired George Lockhart for you to make the weight easier.
So essentially what happened was Cris was having a hard time. She was having a hard time making weight at 145.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at her career, she has actually missed weight at 145 a couple of times. So is Gina Carano. One time.
52.
So
I think.
So when you look at her fight, she's a big 145er. You know what I mean? She's a big 140. 155 would probably be the best weight class for her, really. So they said, you've been kind of doing this with your own nutrition guys, and we have somebody we'd really like to bring to help you micromanage this, and he's a real professional. Keep in mind, he doesn't have any type of dietitian degree or anything. He's just a normal guy like us. He'd been fighting a long time and knows some shit from knowing some shit, right?
Yeah, it can't work for me.
So anyways, yeah. And, there was some differences in procedure of the weight cutting method.
So that's the first time you ever worked with Lockhart.
Was
When
was
they
actually
signed
Invicta, when he signed the contract.
With FC.
You start working with him, go down to Brazil.
35.
Okay.
So then we go to that UFC Brasilia, and she's heavy. Heavier than the documentary. And I don't know the exact reason for this, and I don't really know, but if you go back and you watch our Cyborg Nations, which is like our own UFC embedded that we do.
Yeah, we did it because they don't make for me. We did.
So you did your own embedded.
Yeah, they didn't do an embedded for us. We go guerrilla marketing. We did our own embedded.
Yeah, we did it on embedded. No heavy uppercut, nothing.
So, but if you look at that embedded episode, you'll see there's a real argument where Cris goes off on George Lockhart about this birth control. And what happened was George was looking for a way to help her get down to 140 safer. And so I don't know where the birth control idea came in, but they introduced this birth control idea, which was essentially going to help the body release the water when it was time to start the weight cut. It had some chemical compounds in there that would stop your body from holding on to the water and would essentially
shed the weight.
A legal form of a diuretic.
But I never use birth control because my body is no.
So
help.
And did he know this?
She actually took
it's
out
3 months.
Yeah.
3 months before the fight, you use this,
and she put on so much weight.
Yeah.
She put on so much weight. I'm telling you, she put on so much weight.
In this fight, I run like almost 20 miles per day because I say, man, I don't know, my weight
just
will
not
go
losing weight.
down.
I'm gaining weight.
I was
I'm
so
gaining weight.
I
I'm
gained
gaining weight.
and I so fatigue my body.
And did you
Man.
tell Lockhart this?
Yeah,
and so, you know what, dude? This is the guy that's making the money. I mean, he's making buku bucks. He's
He's the
making,
employee. The UFC's paying this, funding this bill.
technically, he's building a house for the UFC, right?
He's a subcontractor.
Subcontractor.
Whichever one is.
But so now what ends up happening is I have a real concern as boyfriend, not as a fighter or this. I have a concern as a boyfriend. So I actually am like, dude, this is fucking crazy. This girl, Lena Landsberg's last victory before she fought in the UFC was 145 pounds. So why are we fighting her at 140? So I call Vegas and I get a hold of Jeff Nowitzki and I say, hey, Jeff, you know, dude, I'm the boyfriend. I fought at 155, 170, 185, 205. I mean, I've done all the weight classes. I was there for 198, and I'm telling you, Jeff, this is going to be an even more unsafe weight cut.
And this is the week of the fight you call
This
him?
is 3 days before the weigh-ins. So, like I said, the part that doesn't, there's Jeff's side of the story and my side of the story, but the end result of the story, the request to make it a higher weight, didn't get channeled through the right people to get the approval, and so we weighed in at 140.
How is Nowitzki not the right
No,
channel of
141.
approval?
Because this
141.
time it didn't give me 1 pound extra. Yeah.
So I don't really know what happened with that, and I'm not passing blame with anybody. I really appreciate Jeff for being such a great resource with the whole USADA thing that went down with Cyborg. But that USADA thing, you know, is all kind of a culmination of these continued cuts and this continued strain on the body. And so we've got her then in Brasilia. She comes back from Brasilia, and she has the second meeting with Dana White. And she says, look, dude, I can't do 140. And if you're going to make me fight at 140 again, I'm going to go look for more employment.
What's he say?
Division gets made.
Yeah.
Boom.
But it doesn't get made for us to go ahead and fight in. It gets made, and because we're not ready to turn around and go again in 8 weeks, it gets made without us.
That's a fake belt, and like most people, everyone's like,
It's a fake belt, dude.
Go ahead,
It's a
do
fake
it.
belt.
You're just
It's a
literally,
fake belt.
yeah.
It's a fake belt. And it's still like that, you know? So now we fast forward this, and now the division's made, and everybody kind of thinks like, okay, things are hunky-dory and this and that. Well, UFC 214, July 29th in Anaheim, is the chance for the company to really show we're going to put the push behind you. Chris is not asking for a $500,000 contract.
They're not asking for Conor McGregor money.
She's not even asking for a new contract.
When they talk about money now, we talk
She's
about
saying, hey, look, guys, show me that you're invested in me. Okay? You guys told me for 5 months I was going to be fighting July 29th. Well, I just found out I'm the co-main event, which granted, I mean, Cormier and Jones should be the main event. These guys are going to fucking sell. Everybody wants to watch that fight. But where's the press that comes with the co-main event? How come she's not there in Dallas? Not only that, if she's not there in Dallas and that same day you leak the rumor about Kat Zingano,
You knew the opponent.
why didn't we start the Kat Zingano rumors 2
Yeah.
weeks earlier so they could both be there?
Yeah.
So are you going to be happy if, let's say, UFC hears this, which I'm sure this will get around, and they go, all right, it's Kat Zingano, Cyborg, UFC, 1-4, Anaheim. Let's start this promotion going. You're going to be cool.
Why not Megan Anderson?
I mean, that makes more sense on my end.
Listen,
but
because
For
this
the
is
belt,
the
I
thing.
think Megan Anderson.
if-
For one more fight, man, can be a Cat and Gun.
If you're not
how
wanting-
they can fight you for the belt?
yeah.
If you're telling Chris, hey, look, Chris, we're invested in you. We made this division for you. But then in the same sentence, you're telling her, hey, look, Chris, we made this division in for you, but we only want you to fight girls that you could have fought 3 years ago already. Are they really invested in you?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you wondering, why aren't you signing other guys? Is it because you might be doing away with this division?
So do you think they would do? Because obviously, Jermaine Durandamy, she's not. We don't know where she's at. So
Ghost Rider.
Yeah. So So you just strip the belt from her, then you guys fight for this intern belt.
Kat Zingano put up a really good tweet. Megan Anderson has a loss against a girl at 145 named Cindy Dandois. Cindy Dandois just got signed to the UFC. She had a okay fight with Alexis Davis, another girl who fought Ronda Rousey, right? If you're talking about Chris fighting people that fought Ronda Rousey, I don't know why Chris wouldn't fight Alexis Davis, who's got to win, instead of Kat Zingano, who's lost 2 in a row. But Kat put up the idea of, okay, look, Cindy Dandois has a win over Megan Anderson. So let Chris and Megan fight. Okay, that's number 1 versus number 3 in an established real ranking. Keep in mind, Chris has not defended against a number 1 ranked fighter at 145 in more than a year. Okay, so let Chris fight Megan Anderson July 29th. And Kat Zingano's never fought at 145, and she has no wins over anybody in that division. So Cindy Dandois just had a loss. Cindy Dandois has a win over Megan Anderson.
So you're saying put them on the undercard.
Put Cindy Dandois versus Kat Zingano on the undercard.
Winner of that.
So that way that winner actually gets a little bit of promotion. And now we've just got this whole Ultimate Fighter idea that just got released for the 125-pound division.
Sure.
Chris is complaining that she's not getting any promotional push. She's complaining that she doesn't get any marketing.
Be a coach on that.
What better solution could we have than have the winner of Megan and Chris fight the winner of Kat Zingano and Cindy Dandois at the finale of another female Ultimate Fighter show?
No.
You know?
And is your, and obviously your boyfriend, you're very knowledgeable. I really appreciate you being on there, brother. Like, you know your shit. And I told you when me and him were talking about, I said, this dude is ride or die for
No,
you.
he know everybody.
I want to marry this fucking guy.
He know
ride or die.
yeah,
I wish my girl was this passionate about me.
Look at
She
a
knows
few beers
shit
and it
about
gets
me.
better.
You
She
know,
knows shit.
if you ask somebody else, anybody, he knows everything about everybody. Everybody, when to fight, who then fight, how many fights.
But my question is, so obviously he knows his shit, but in order for to get this done, your management's going to have to tell this to the UFC brass. Are they saying this? Are they singing the same tune?
With the same page, everybody.
So I think the real solution to this is everybody's got to get in a room. Because it's not numbers. It's personal.
It's personal. And it's a respect thing on her end.
Which is personal, right?
Yes.
So you have a Brazilian, and if we just we're talking about 2 businesses. But now let's talk about it from a business world. When 2 businesses come together, there's usually a whole marketing understanding department that works on the infusion of the 2 business cultures.
This one's easy, though. What's good for you is good for them.
You're taking a Latina from Brazil who money's not her motivating factor. Her motivating factor is respect. It's family. She just bought a farm. I'm going to be a fucking farmer in the middle of the jungle in Brazil.
You bought a farm?
In Brazil?
Yeah.
This is sweet. This is not a girl that wants to live in Hollywood. Money is not going to be the motivating factor.
Yeah, you're not going to be an Expendables 19 after you retire.
Now you have another company where their culture is money.
Just money.
And when they met with Chris and the whole thing came up about like, yo, look at all this shit you've been saying about me. It was kind of like, yo, it's the fight game. Toughen up, buddy. They was just saying it to promote stuff. But now you got me as a boyfriend, you know, and the whole Vanderlei Silva in a dress with Dana White thing, she didn't even speak English when that happened. When she had somebody translate to her what he said, do you know what it's like to fucking sit there and see your girl cry? Because somebody, and not only that, she has a niece. Do you know what it's like for her niece to go to school and have people make jokes to an 11, 12-year-old that her adoptive mom has a penis?
Yeah, it's bad.
That's not fucking cool. And that's not just the fight game.
No.
Especially when you're not fucking paying them.
Yeah.
If you're paying them $2 million and they got to fucking listen to you make jokes about them having a dick, say whatever you want. If you're paying me fucking 10% of the gate and you're slamming me the 10 months leading up to the fight, and you know, the ultimate thing is she needs to fix this. They need to fix it. They got to work together.
They need to fix it. You guys need to get in a room. I hope it happens, man. I really hope it happens. You guys need to get in a room. You need to voice your opinion. You need to do it soon, especially if we're going to find the Anaheim card. And I want it to work out, man. God damn, I want it to work out.
Yeah.
The fight that you're fighting, I don't think anyone in the UFC has ever had to fight this fight. And it's not inside the octagon. It's outside. And you are on an uphill fucking battle. And it's exhausting. And I can feel it. And it's so frustrating for me. It's so
power,
to say the least.
Yeah.
I hope it works out. And I can't thank you guys enough for coming on and sharing your story. You guys have an open door. Anytime you get anything out, you come here, both of you. You're great, man. I wish I could help. I wish I could. I'm so frustrated for you guys. I get emotional because I want it to work out for you.
You know, but you do help. I mean, honestly, it's the fans. Cris would not be in the UFC if it wasn't for her fans.
Yeah.
Her fans, we make the whole little joke, Cyborg Nation. Her fans are like the fucking Raiders.
Yeah, no, they're ride or die.
When they show up, you got like the Cholas in one area. You got like the and it's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, and everybody follows her on Instagram at Cris Cyborg. They check out her website, CrisCyborg.com. They're on her Twitter, but they follow. And not only that, they're organic.
Yeah, it's
follows.
real. Yeah,
These guys are out here buying followers, buying Twitters, buying retweets. No. Cris has got 30 million people in Brazil watched her last fight. As amazing as Joanna Champion is, when she was co-main event with Conor McGregor, fucking 500 people woke up at 6 a.m. to see her fight in Poland. 500 people. Cris could fight at 5 a.m. at a Burger King parking lot, and there's going to be 500 people there watching.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, you guys need to get in a room. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out.
So.
And like I said, I wish I could help. And I can't thank both you guys enough for coming on, man.
No, thank you for
the
maybe you'll come back on good news.
Yeah. I really hope you.
We'll bring you on our podcast.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I hope your story needs to get told. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story. It's also heartbreaking, which a lot of people can relate to because you're fighting the man. And in this case, the man is fucking tough to beat. And you're doing these two fights and you have to be exhausted. I have a feeling you come out on top. I really do. I think it's going to happen. I think the end of July is going to be a good night for you guys. I think you're going to get that belt and you're going to be the A side and they're going to be forced to address what you're talking about now. And I think that's how it's going to go down. So I wish both of you the best of luck. Thank you guys so much.
Nice.
Hey.
Well, there you have it, guys. You know, Cris Cyborg is open and honest I've heard on any show ever. And, you know, Ray Elbe, her man, her compadre, her companion. God damn, that dude is ride or die. And I was glad he was here. When I came in, you know, we were talking before, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, man. He seems a little hostile. And passionate dude, really good dude. And when you hear the story, like, of course they're hostile. Hell yeah, man. And I just hope, I pray to God, man, that Cris, Ray, and her management team can sit down with whoever's making the decisions over there in the UFC and just have a talk and hear their story and not look at her like this sideshow, freak show, and treat her like roadkill. They need, literally, what's good for them is good for the UFC. And they need to come to agreement and hear her out. And, you know, I think it's a huge mistake if they don't. And I know they're busy and they're doing stuff, but they need to make Cris Cyborg a priority, man. You have this weight class. Without that weight class, let's say you let her fight out these two fights and she goes to Bellator. And you have who at 145 pounds can do what Cris Cyborg does? You have a fake division. If she leaves, that division is no longer there. Cris Cyborg, that division is Cris Cyborg. You made that division for Cris Cyborg. They need to realize this. They need to realize what they have. And I hope they do. And, you know, this game's hard enough as it is just being a regular fighter and trying to win fights. It's hard enough. Now imagine doing that, cutting an extreme amount of weight, getting your name slandered, fighting this fucking machine that is so much more powerful than you, and still trying to maintain focus and win fights and be the best female fighter in the world. Put yourself in Cris Cyborg's shoes right now. What she's doing is insane. She has the hardest job in the UFC, bar none, hands down. She has the hardest job. when you're winning fights and you're the Conor McGregor and the Ronda Rouseys and you're on TV shows, you're on Good Morning America, you're doing movies, you're getting all these sponsors, and you go into training camp and no one bothers you and everyone's singing your praises. That's exactly how it should be for Cris Cyborg. But for whatever reason, it's not. And she's had the toughest road ever out of any UFC fighter ever. And I don't understand.
And in person, she's so tender, sweet.
How nice is she?
She's a completely professional, but
Sweetheart.
tender and sweet. I was amazed. I see an image of her. I see her on TV. It's completely different.
Whose
I don't
fault
get to
is
know her.
that? It's the
I
UFC's.
know, so
Why not promote this? You have this literally pioneer of women's fighting. She was fighting before Ronda. She's literally the face. You say, well, she failed steroid tests before. She PEDs in 2012. Name all these other fighters who haven't. You forgave them. They're still a draw. What are you talking about? John Jones? Are you kidding me? You look at some of the dirty laundry with these other fighters. You forgive them.
yeah.
Why not forgive her? What are you talking about? She's a good person, man. She's a great person. And she has a phenomenal skill set. I don't get it. I hope it works out, man. And I have a Big Brown breakdown live the night before that UFC 214 in Long Beach at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach. Ticket sales go on next week. And I pray to God that I am breaking down a fight between Cris Cyborg and Megan Anderson.
That'd be awesome.
For the interim belt or just the belt in general. I hope that's the way her road ends, and I hope she gets everything she's always wanted, because God damn does that girl deserve it. Boom. This was an emotional one today, and again, I can't thank Cris Cyborg enough for coming on, and Ray, appreciate you guys. If you guys are listening, give Cris some love, man, on social media and stuff like that. You can tell she's hurting, man. She is fucking hurting, and it's tough to watch, and she doesn't deserve it. Everyone understands what it's like to be fucking pinned down and have to fight the machine. Now think about being a cage fighter and having to fight the machine day in and day out, and they're slandering your name and they're doing all this other stuff, just making a tough road. So I ask you guys, be nice to her, give her a shout out on Twitter, Instagram, and just show her some love, and hopefully things work in her favor. As always, bigger, badder, browner. I'm Brendan Schaub. I'm out.